cancel culture is about canceling it.
Up yours. Woke moralists. Up yours.
Systematic bullying that's happening.
And they believe that
Woke.
But it's the wax that the Terminator X spun. Now they got me in a cell cause my records they sell. Cause a brother like me said, well,
It's born like this, immaculate conception. Not transform like this, perform like this, which yells you a new weapon. I don't contemplate, I meditate, then off your head. This that puts against the bed, this that I got realness, I just push, cause it's in my DNA. I got millions, I got riches building in my DNA. I got dark, I got evil that rot inside my DNA. I got off, I got trouble, some heart inside my DNA.
They seem animalistic is what I mean.
No, they're worse than animals.
The woke mob, they ruin everything.
They stopped Ben Shapiro from going to events and speaking. They stopped Ann Coulter from doing it.
I will never surrender even a single inch of ground to a pitchfork mob.
You never cave to the mob.
We will never bow to the mob. Ever. No matter what.
Do you see the final in terrorist groups like
We'll see count. They want you to comply.
Hey, how's it going, everybody?
Hi, friends. How are you?
Doing well. Nice to have Thought Slime join us for the first time. Thought Slime, nice to have you. I don't think we've ever actually talked, but longtime fan of your content and happy to have you here.
Glad to be here.
Yeah, we also have another guest. Gabrielle Perry will be coming a little bit later on. I think it's just Lance and myself in terms of the leftist mafia. I hope that people can understand that a lot of us are suffering through severe burnout right now, so we're giving each other grace. Last week I took the week off, and anytime somebody wants to not do a show, we're all understanding because not the best times. So hope you all can understand that.
It's the worst of times, some might say.
Yeah, it's the worst of times. But
why? What's going on?
Well,
I should mention I've been in a coma for 6 months. So is anything happening?
Okay. Well, everything is perfectly fine. We have Medicare for all now in the United States. Everything is great in Canada. So, yeah.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, I mean, I didn't pay attention to that election that just happened. NDP swept, right? I assume.
Yep.
Absolutely.
Good.
Yeah. Prime Minister Jagmeet Singh is really awesome. He implemented universal dental care and eye care, and it's just going swimmingly.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Lefties are in command and control, and everyone is bisexual now. It all happened so fast.
Yeah.
Finally.
And Pierre Poilievre and Donald Trump both died recently.
That's true. Yep.
Yeah. More
it was a double KO, like in Street Fighter 2. You know, they ran into each other and then blah blah blah, and then so that was it was impressive.
It's
really hard
to
pull off. Yeah.
And then
also,
JD Vance had to do the mini game where you beat up the car.
Yeah, and he wasn't capable of doing it. It was actually a couch, and he did not fight it.
He looked like he was doing something to it. I don't know.
I don't think it was violence.
He wasn't fucking it. Not sure. He wasn't fucking it. Okay, before you say it. But on a serious note, how have you been, Thought Slime?
I imagine largely the same as everyone else. I'm surviving. Just getting through it. I've been running about like a marathon worth of distance a week. So that's been my new thing.
I love that for you.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've been doing walking about 4 to 5 times per week. I don't do too much. I do like maybe 4 to 7 miles, 10 at the most. But yeah, it's a really nice way to burn off energy. Like all this like feeling of dread and just like existential doom. I don't know. It just helps me a lot because It's better than doom scrolling. I'll put it that way.
Yes.
I've got a lot of fake weeb stolen valor, but I've actually gotten into this series recently. I don't know if any of you are aware of it. My fans had frequently asked me if I would take a look, and I had little interest until I found out that apparently One Piece and Ichiro Oda's work was about to surpass J.K. Rowling's as the greatest fiction selling series ever. So I figured I'd be part of the revolution. So I bought the very first series of volumes, and then I finished that in 2 hours, and then I ordered the next 4. And now I'm like, this shit is going to bankrupt me because it's so page-turningly addictive. So now I'm like, I think I'm going to head out to the library to see if I can get one of those monster volumes and rent it for a couple of weeks, and then maybe I can consume the whole thing and talk
how many issues could there be?
I know, right? Like, how prolific could one writer truly be? Is how I've been thinking about it. So yeah, but it's also very good. It's helped my mental health. Yeah.
Yeah, I have not finished, or I have not even started the manga, but I have finished all 1,100 episodes. I'm caught up completely.
Whoa.
And I started after the live action, so I watched that, and then I went to the anime, and I just built the Going Merry Lego pirate ship. Because I'm one of those people. Very cool.
Oh yeah! All right.
Yeah. I could talk about One Piece all day. Are you a One Piece fan, Thought Slime, or a weeb at all?
Kind of a fake fan, I suppose. I got to about where they got to the Grand Line, and then kind of fell off a little, but I'll be back at some point. Like, I was really enjoying it.
Were you watching the cartoon or reading the books?
I was watching the anime. Yeah.
Okay. It's crazy how gay this show gets at a certain part. Like, it is... And I was told that it was gay before I started watching it, like it's pro-LGBTQ. But I was like, oh, they weren't preparing me for just how fucking gay the show is, where you have a character whose power is to be able to inject hormones in people, and she could change her gender at any time, and she can suspect if somebody is trans, and she could inject them with hormones and make them trans, and then they thank her because they were always... It's like the shit gets gay. Like at one point, Luffy has a whole army of queers that like back him up. It's fucking insane.
Okay, no spoilers. Because
I won't say anything else.
Well, I thought I was decently into the series. I just got past like the captain's boat, the cooking boat, and I was like, I have not noticed any of the gay yet, and I keep being told that it's very pro LGBTQ and it's going to be wonderful. But so far, the whole thing feels like a positive male power fantasy is the best way I can describe it, because like every character seems to like just have the most stringent code of honor ever for whatever one thing they're really into. Like everyone has their one thing, right? Like I want to be the world's greatest swordsman, and I will die achieving that, and nothing can get in my way of that dream. That seems to be like every character's guiding compass is kind of like my read so far. But I'm also very, very early into what is.
I think that's also like largely a reflection of how Oda lives his life, because if you like go back, like he did not do any other manga before One Piece. He had like a kind of like a pre-One Piece story that was basically just an outline for One Piece with pirates and all the same shit. Like he's wanted to know, he knew what he wanted to do like immediately in elementary school, and he's just pursued that his whole life.
Amazing.
Yeah,
and the show is funny as hell too. Oh, for people asking, it's a One Piece. We're talking about all of it, like the manga, the anime, because we are nerds, and it's the one thing that gives us pleasure in this dark time. So
yeah, I was also inspired by Mike's shirt, because when I saw it, I was like, oh yeah, that's the only other anime series I know anything about. Because I didn't know until I started, becoming a little popular on the internet how huge anime is just across the board with like every community. It doesn't matter. I don't want to give the right wingers anything here, but like if you're in right wing circles, they love anime. Left wing circles, they love anime. And maybe different interpretations of some of the deeper meanings. I know they don't have a lot of media literacy on that side of the aisle, but like there's still a lot of like it's just kind of the one thing that seems to unify a lot of different political ideologies is everyone is really into anime.
Yeah, they don't actually have an idea that One Piece is woke, because I've seen like homophobic One Piece memes of Luffy, commanding shoot down that flag, and it's an LGBTQ flag. They replaced the flag in the show of the Marine flag with like the LGBTQ flag, and people are like, That's not how the show goes. And somebody was genuinely asking on Twitter, like, how is One Piece woke? Because somebody had responded, "Oh, yay, woke overtook, J.K. Rowling and her transphobia," and somebody was like, "How is it woke?" And like all the comments were like, "How is it not woke? Like, have you gotten past the first couple of episodes or chapters? Like, how could you come away thinking that it's anything but woke? Like, it is explicitly woke. Like, it's pro-LGBTQ, it's anti-capitalist,
anti-imperialist,
anti-elite, anti-imperialist. It's like, it's about anti-racist as well. Like, the whole fucking show revolves around that. So it's crazy how media illiterate they are. But it goes back to, like, do you remember the first season of Squid Games when Tim Pool, he did a video about it and was like, "Oh, I think the takeaway is communism bad."
I love that.
The person who made the show was like, "It's about capitalism." Like, what?
He's like, "I literally went bankrupt making this show. I was like living out of my car. I had to sell my laptop. No one would buy it forever. Like, I got exploited. Even when he got the show signed, he got exploited in its making. Like, it couldn't be more."
Yeah.
Also, it's like it's to a fault a little too blatant with its messaging, right? Like, it's literally just characters running around being capitalism bad and then being shot. Like, that's the whole series. Yeah.
Yeah, there's literally like a big pile of money held over their head for like half of it
in a piggy bank.
Yeah. I kind of thought we were talking around this, and I kind of assumed this would be the reason that Lance, you were getting into One Piece, but because lately it's been the Jolly Roger flag from One Piece has become like a symbol of national resistance in Indonesia as the protests are going on there.
Yeah, no,
and I think seeing something like that, like, it's not an accident that people would infer that kind of thing from One Piece. Like, it's very much in the story.
Well, it was the same thing with a lot of the worker strikes last year in South Korea. They were actually dressing up as characters from Squid Games. And, I mean, it's pretty much like you can see how actual, like, workers' revolutions or, the people's revolutions are being inspired by works of fiction that happen to have similar themes in them. Yeah.
It's like how you see protesters. Yes. Yeah. That one's a good one. Like, you'll also see protesters, like, after Roe v. Wade was overturned, they were dressing up as Handmaid's Tale. And like the handmaidens and protesting in front of Supreme Court justices' homes, because that's like the society that they're trying to cultivate. And I feel like, the one thing that is keeping all of us sane right now is all of these distractions in art and media. And I think that, like, in these times, as bad as it is, we get the best media and the best art. Because during times when there's struggle and there's, a lot of things going on, I feel like people in their darkest places come up with the best shit. Like, even South Park has been good lately. The last episode wasn't as great, but like the first two, where they were really taking the time to write out a script for once and, decided to poke the powerful. Like, it's nice to see that. So yeah, I like that we have this escape, because without it, I would go fucking insane. Because goddamn, is this a dark time? And for anyone complaining about us not talking about politics directly, if we weren't talking about this, then Matt would be talking about sports with David or something. So don't come at me, or we would be talking about video games. So we've got.
But this is political, is what I think is the underlying theme of it all, right? It is kind of to your bigger point. Like, I've noticed, like, the only positive I can give AI art is that it's made me appreciate real art by digital artists more. Like, when I see a Blue Sky artist posting their fan art of something that they're like, "I drew this myself," they usually add like, "No AI was used," or "I didn't use AI for this. This is me." I'm like, that's gorgeous, that's beautiful.
Yeah.
Good for you, right? Like, that is really well done.
Yeah, that's a great point, because I feel the same way, where you really you tend to appreciate like how much effort and time goes into a single painting. I could never do that. I'm not a creative person. I follow instructions to make anything creative, which would be Lego. But I just to be able to express yourself in that way, that's also great. So like, yeah, I have this like thirst for art and media and distractions. I'm even into like superhero shit.
Videos are art, Mike. Don't sell yourself short. Like, when you make one of those videos where you're basically, you I don't know if you script it or if you're doing improv in your pre-made videos, not the live streams. But I was like, that's still a form of art, right? Like, you're still assembling, you're editing, you're putting the whole thing together, and you're getting the timing of the jokes right. You're basically emphasizing and building to a point. There's an arc from the start to the finish.
No. Nothing on YouTube can be art. It's all content.
we are content. Well, I mean, to glaze both of you, Thought Slime's new video on Israel, very, very topical right now of all the subjects. It is a work of art. Like it is a really, really good video that both weaves a lot of the old myths that people were perpetrating that a lot of us kind of just got indoctrinated to without thinking about it. Like you never thought about how weird it is to say things like I think that they have a right to defend themselves. I think that they have a right to be a Jewish supremacist ethno state. You would just say that out loud and not realize that's a fucked up thing to say. But it's so normalized that it's in like mayoral debates where it's like
and
you
even
have to
beyond that, like the conflation of those two concepts. The idea that in order to defend themselves, they must be a Jewish state, right?
Right.
Like, do they have the right to defend themselves? In some hypothetical where they weren't the aggressor, certainly, but they are. So why are we talking about it? Like, what does it matter?
Yeah. Has Ethan Klein taken up your offer to sue you?
Not yet. I look forward to hearing from his people. He's probably got a lot going on right now, but touch wood, we'll see.
Oh, have you gotten in his crosshairs, or did you make that offer?
I spent several minutes in my last video encouraging Ethan Klein to sue me.
Oh shit.
But Mike, I don't want to spoil it, but he had the funniest line where he's like, he's not going to sue me. I'm not a woman. I was like, I almost did a spit take on it.
I'll have to check this out. Damn.
I think I would like I just want him to have to sue everyone on YouTube. Yeah. That's the end state I would like to see, is just him suing everybody that posts.
It's possible at the rate that he's going. I feel so embarrassed because I used to actually really like H3, and now I had Teddy Fresh merch. I still do, and I don't know what to do with it because I will not be seen with that in public, or even at home. So it's like,
did you hear that he's wearing Keemstar merch now?
No, really.
Oh, there's a viral photo all over Twitter of his entire cast and crew all wearing the Keemstar Lol Cow gear. That's Keemstar's official merch, by the way. It's called
Mortal Enemies.
Yeah, I have no idea what it means.
I haven't
Thank
kept
God.
up on it.
By the way, he's there to protect us all from anti-Semitism on YouTube.
Yes.
Thank God.
Yes. Promoting Keemstar. Definitely not one of the biggest anti-Semites on the platform. So good stuff.
Yeah. I don't understand that. That has given me like a lot of brain rot, just like trying to process what was happening, because I followed the early days of like the fall of Leftovers, and I tried really hard to empathize with Ethan despite the things that he said that I like vehemently disagreed with, like a little offhanded comment he made about like Jewish Voice for Peace, like comparing to the capos. That really like irked me, but I tried to put it aside just because, like, okay, he has a very different perspective, and very clearly there's like this earnest attempt to try to learn and listen to Hassan and take in like what his progressive audience is saying. But like, it was still hard to watch because he had this brick wall up, and like a few months later, I just decided to tune in again. This is before I really went in on Hassan, and then that was after Aaron Bushnell had self-immolated, and there were these clips that came out of Ethan Klein talking about that, and the jokes he was making, like, straight up, like, unironically triggered me, because I felt like, oh, like, this is, what the fuck? Like, it gave me the impression that he didn't care about the situation, and he just, he said something to the effect of, well, I said it's a genocide, I said this, what else do you want? And it's like, that to me was so revealing, because it's like, well, like, are you just trying to, like, do this checklist to pander to us to make it seem like you care? And so, like, yeah, I fell off, and it's been worse ever since, because I don't know, I don't understand. If you see something like this going on, that's like the worst atrocity that's fathomable, a new Holocaust, how do you not decenter yourself? How do you not like understand that is what should take priority? Why go after the people who are trying to shed light on it? So, I mean, I'm regurgitating what everybody else said, but just like as a fan, I almost feel like defensive, where I have to go out of my way to like say, I'm no longer a fan, and this is why, because it's embarrassing at this point.
I don't think there's anything to be embarrassed. Everyone, I think, has that moment for something, right? Like for me, it was Michael Jackson. I'm sure both of you have your other cases where you're just such a, like, maybe you weren't as big a fan of Ethan Klein as I was of Michael Jackson, but it takes like a really long time to have your entire worldview flip. And when it does, you're just like, oh my God. And then you have to kind of like re-examine every part of the defense you made in the back and in the prior moments. And then you're all of a sudden like, okay, all right, well, I was wrong. Because human beings do that, where we're frequently wrong. And, you know, a lot of us don't like to admit it, but it's just the reality of being a person.
You know, one of the most like blackpilling things for me is like, there's going to come a time when this genocide is over and we're all going to have to just live knowing like how many people were not only okay with it, but like actively cheered it on, and they're just walking amongst us, you know, and it's fucking bone chilling.
Yeah.
There's no other
or downplay anyone who would try to do anything about it, or consistently trying to distract everybody, or try to like, I think, you know, there's so many different tiers of evil now, because I agree with those kind of signs you'll see spray painted places where it's like, if you've ever wondered what you would have done during the Holocaust, you are doing it right now. Or if you've ever wondered what you were doing during slavery, you're doing it right now. And so like that second one hit me really bad, because it's like, I wouldn't be John Brown. I'm not actively arming a resistance right now, right? Like, I would be an abolitionist. I know that for a fact. I would definitely speak out against it. I would protest it, and I would do, you know, all the things I could within the bounds of legality. But I would not actively be recruiting a militia to go kill like slave owners, right? So that kind of tells you where your own morality bar is at. But then there is people who go so far beyond, where it's just like, I like sometimes dither between, is it grosser the people who at least are honest and just will tell you to your face, hey, by the way, I'm totally fine with the complete extermination of the Palestinian people, because I don't see them as people, they're vermin, and I want them gone. And then there's people who just want to spend and waste time while kids are starving by doing a like, well, have you thought about if this school or this hospital was a Hamas HQ? Have you really thought about that? Have you thought about
those starving children, by the way, had pre-existing health conditions, so it's actually fine.
That one, yeah. So that, if you want to talk about blackpilling moments, has been probably the peak of just like, there's no limits to human depravity. If like, kids with disabilities need food too. Like that's the gotcha, the gotcha right now. that the New York Times and other like mainstream outlets, global news is guilty of this too, are now like doing this thing where it's like, hey, by the way, you were fooled. This kid had a neurological disorder. This kid had cancer. So, you know, maybe
so fuck him, I guess.
Yeah. Okay. All right.
This whole thing has been really, really, I don't know. It almost feels like it radicalized me in a different way, because I naively had this idea that society had progressed past certain points. Like certain things were just off the table, right? Like genocide, we all agree, genocide bad, never again. These are things that are obvious. But then to see the defense, and aside from like the defense from people, like you'll go on Twitter and of course you'll see people defending it, but also the apathy from just normies. Like, I'm not sure if you all can relate to this, but I've had conversations in real life about the genocide with people who just had no idea. And I understand that like people just going through their lives, they're working, they're busy, it's hard to pay attention to the news, but it's just like, something is so horrific that I almost feel like it's astounding how it's not all consuming based on like the level of pain and suffering that's going on. And there's always pain and suffering. Like, we live in a capitalist world where people are exploited every single day, but like there hasn't been so much documentation for something like this. Like, you can actually see the worst violence imaginable on your screen in 4K. And so I just feel like the fact that you have all of this evidence and people choose to either ignore it or try to refute it or justify it, to me, that really has been like, not an eye-opening or a radicalizing moment, but a moment where it like was a turning point for me. Like, there's no going back from this. Like, as a human being, I can never look at my species the same way again after just letting this go on and just like not caring. Like, how could you not give a fuck? You know what I mean? Like, that's what I'm really struggling with.
Really, really good, effective media control, I would say, is the answer to that. Like why,
Yeah,
like,
that's
you know,
fair.
and when you do discuss this with family members or people in your lives, and then they're just like, well, things are bad, but are they that bad? I feel like they're 6 to 8 months behind because you know, when
Right.
6 to 8 months go by, all of a sudden they're like, whoa, so they're starving kids to death, like, well, have been for some time, you know, or like whatever other thing is happening. Unfortunately, I feel that's kind of the reality, because you know, mainstream media has been complicit as well. I mean, I don't want to.
Oh, yeah. Absolutely.
Yeah, you know, but from, you know, even passive voice at times seems kinder than the outright propaganda stories where you'll just read like, you know, why are you talking about this at a time when this is happening? This feels grotesque, I would say is the word.
Yeah. On the flip side, though, I will say that there are people who didn't know anything, and then they informed themselves and were radicalized by it. And those people really are the inverse of like what's making me feel so black-pilled. Individuals like Noah Samson, who I was watching his stream when he did the fund, and he was talking about how he didn't really know anything, and then he researched it, and he became like one of the biggest, most outspoken voices for Palestinians. And so like that kind of gives me a little bit more hope, because like, you know, we're on the other side of the world, and it's out of sight, out of mind. So technically, you don't have to care, but you should care because our governments are funding it. Your tax dollars are going towards this. So whether we like it or not, we're complicit. And so like you should care. And even if you weren't complicit, you should just care, because like human suffering on that scale where you can see it, where it's so in your face and you can't hide from it. Like if you are able to stomach that, or just like scroll by without having any reaction, I genuinely don't know what to say to you. Like I feel like we're on different planes of existence.
It almost feels like it shouldn't require this level of justification to like make people understand why they should care about, you know, people being ethnically cleansed. But like, to put it, not to put too fine a point on it, but like, first they came for the Palestinians, you know, like if you can't bring yourself to care about others, at least care about the fact that like, if this precedent is allowed to be set, if this is allowed to be done without consequence, it's going to Foucault's boomerang right back onto you at some point.
Yeah. Well, and that's the thing about imperial boomerang, right? Americans are experiencing firsthand that liberation that we were delivering to Afghanistan and Iraq. We're getting it here in LA, in DC. So it comes right back around, honestly. Right?
I see also that y'all are doing revisionist history on slavery. Seems to be the
We're there now. We're there now. Yeah. We're also we're also rejecting, you know, vaccines. It's a hellhole. By the way, I do want to bring in our guest, because she's been she's an expert, she's an epidemiologist, and she's been at the forefront of trying to warn people that what's happening right now, especially with regard to like public health, it's not going to end well, to put it mildly. But welcome back to the show, Gabrielle Perry. How's it going, Gabrielle? Happy to have you back.
Love to see y'all again.
So how have you been surviving with all of the lovely things happening in our country? I know that you've been following the HHS shit very closely, and also the student loan stuff closely. How are you feeling? Let's get a temperature check on you, because I'm feeling amazing.
I'm screaming into the void, hoping someone hears me, and fielding death threats left and right on the good apps. You know what I mean? Yeah. I feel like, you know, you know, if something's gonna stick, you know, something's gonna happen. So all in all, you know, I feel amongst the pure existential dread, I'm a little hopeful. Yeah,
that's good. Nice. I can relate to the death threats and all that stuff. It's crazy because I'll make a post on Twitter about like the random shit. I don't remember what it was, but it kind of blew up. Not like a ton, but I got like 5,000-6,000 likes. And there were like dozens of people just like casually calling me the F slur. And I'm like, wow, am I back in middle school? Like, it's not related at all. But I mean, like, thank you for the input, I guess. Like, damn.
I don't mean to laugh. I just think that it's so wild to me how we are just, especially and there's been a big discussion on Blue Sky, which is kind of where I try to be mostly. I try to just live over there. There's been a bit of a discussion and whatnot about just how much we are desensitized to like this, just the negativity for which this second administration has wrought. And people are still celebrating this as celebrating Trump's second reign as a bastion of free speech and of non-censorship and whatnot. Meanwhile, we have never been probably in a more this shit would make Joseph McCarthy blush. Like, it's really just, I don't know what else to call it except a fascist takeover. And anti-intellectualism, honestly, is always one of the signs of rising fascism and whatnot in any country and whatnot. You attack the intellectuals first and whatnot. You attack facts first. You attack how people communicate. It's really attacking how people communicate, who is allowed to communicate. And so here we are, where I can basically wipe my ass with my epidemiology degree because some shithead up the street who maybe heard what a vaccine was, 2 years ago, is now being put on the same, like, equal playing field. And their opinion and their beliefs are worth as much as mine. And granted, you can always have a conversation about, like, people aren't supposed to be experts in everything and whatnot, but now because of fascism, it's the end of what an expert is defined as. It's the changing of the definition of what an expert actually is.
Yeah, exactly. And on that note, I was hoping that you all would react to a video that I found of so this is Chris Pratt. He's on Bill Maher. You already know what it's going to be.
Raw milk, but it's so much worse.
And then after this, everybody go around and say who their favorite Chris is.
Oh God! All right, I got mine.
Okay, so this was on Club Random with Bill Maher, and he's talking about why it's absurd that you can't cheer on the wins of the Trump administration because you're too partisan brain, and why RFK is amazing. So I had no idea until this came out, but I guess that this guy is related to Kennedy's. He like married into the family.
Cheating on Aaron married into the Kennedy family, kind of.
I wanted to ask you, like, did you know about like the masks that he kind of wears? Because like I'm a big Parks and Rec fan, and like I've enjoyed him when he appears. He just seems like a lovable goofball kind of a dude. But every now and then he'll open his mouth and say something where I'm just like, wait, what the fuck? Where he's just like, I built a cross in my backyard, and that's what I think good Christians should do. And I was like, that's an odd thing to say. But
I don't even think Parks and Rec fans know when he really. Like, was he always like this, or did he just hit like a straight 180? Because I'm a huge Parks and Rec fan. I've never seen The Office. I was always a Parks and Rec girl.
I think he hit it. I think he wears a lot of masks, and he wears them well. I think that's always been his thing. Like, he doesn't want to be known as a right-wing conservative type figure because he's like he became an A-lister Hollywood actor, right? So he just kind of hit his power levels.
But that's got to be a good thing, though, right? Wearing masks is going to help keep us all safe from COVID. Surely is the reason that he's wearing so many masks, right?
I don't know. They just don't speak at that point. I mean, that's what probably 2 of the 3 other Chris's do. 2 of the 4 other Chris's just don't speak. They just don't say anything. Like,
yeah, I don't think people understand that shutting the fuck up is completely free.
Absolutely.
And it benefits you so many times. Like moments where I shut the fuck up when I could have spoken out. I'm very thankful for that, to have a self-filter. But this Chris comes off as more of like a dumbass. I think that he's obviously conservative, but I think he's more like, I would describe him as like a less radicalized version of my MAGA sibling. Like, he absolutely is a Kool-Aid drinker, but he doesn't follow it as closely. Like, he's not reading all the tweets. But he absolutely is in that bubble. But
you
anyways,
know why, though? Because he's super religious. He's super. That's one thing I know about Chris Pratt. He's like stupid involved in, like, first of all, it's heavily, I won't say implied, I won't say rumored, allegedly and whatnot. Homeboy's in a full-blown cult. Okay.
Oh, okay.
And he was beefing with Elliot Page back when they were known as Ellen Page, about the church, like, for super special Hollywood celebs and whatnot, openly campaigning against gay marriage, openly campaigning against gay people's right to exist
I remember
in the world.
This.
And he got dragged to all live in hell because he basically came out and made a statement and doubled down on it. And so that I think is really a symptom, because when you're super religious, you don't, especially when you're evangelical, which is a particular flavor of religion, you don't have to defending your political beliefs is also kind of seen as defending your religious beliefs. And so they just kind of opt out of it entirely because they know it's indefensible, but they can just kind of hide behind that shield of, Jesus wept. And
yeah, it's like you can't criticize me because that's like anti-Christian or whatever.
Yes.
Yeah, it's almost like the Israel defense, but like for Christians, right? And ironically, they are Zionists as well. Evangelicals were Zionists. I was an evangelical and raised as a Zionist before I even knew what the fuck that was. So yeah, they will invoke their own version of identity politics to try to deflect, and
that's been since the 70s, like really since the 60s,
right.
And the civil rights movement and whatnot. It's very much been they integrate their policies and whatnot that they want to, and their base is the church. That's their podium. That's where they speak. But the GOP uses the church in that way. And so when you make something inextricable, when you make religion, which is supposed to be the source of who you are as a person, it's supposed to be your inner validation and who you are, how you live your life. When you make that inextricable from your politics and what you like policies that you want passed, then of course you can say that, integration is against God. And of course you can say that, Black people shouldn't be able to go to school. Of course you can, you can justify anything with God said so.
Yeah. Yeah, no, exactly. And that's exactly what I've seen them do my whole life.
Well,
I've seen people.
Yeah. If you're Chris Pratt, though, I can kind of understand being super religious because it does seem like things just happen well for him. Like he just gets stuff, how the fuck is this dude Garfield? Like who decided that, Like I would feel like God was intervening on my behalf. Also, can I just say how fucked up it is to appear on Bill Maher and be so out of touch that it sticks out?
Yeah,
right.
That's true.
I mean, does it? Bill Maher I'm seeing clips of Bill Maher lately, and I'm like, what in the hell? First of all, like, I didn't even know Bill Maher was still alive. Like, he really used to just kind of stick to his own level of the internet, just kind of stay there. And he's also a very good representation, as is Joe Rogan, of the fact that libertarians were always Republicans who wanted to smoke weed and have sex with like non-white women. Like that is really what it has always been and what it will always be from that side. And the only place they can pivot is more right.
Right. No, that's exactly, yeah. Yeah. We bring up Bill Maher, by the way, trigger warning for people. Bill Maher's face will be on the screen. Oh God. So, all right. So this is the segment of the podcast that everybody is talking about with regard to his comments on RFK Jr.
Politics, you inherit enemies, and when you jump on the bandwagon with who is the most divisive president ever, it makes sense that you're going to be made to look terrible. And so I don't know what to believe because it's not like I sit with Bobby and I go, so, hey, let's talk about this. Let's talk about. It's like we're just playing cards or playing Mafia or having fun or having dinner. I'm not going to pick his brain to find out exactly which of those things are true. I just kind of assume that none of them are. And for the most part, I wish him well, man. I hope there's certain things that he oversees that seem to be supported in a bipartisan way, like getting terrible toxic stuff out of our kids' food. I think that's a great thing. And so if you do that, that's amazing. I'd hate to be so mired in hatred for the president that any success from his administration is something I'd have an allergic reaction to. To be like, oh, well, if they do it, I don't want it to happen. I'll put Clorox in my children's cereal myself. It's like, come on, be reasonable here. There's certain things that would be a good thing to have. I want them all to be successful.
It's so ironic that he talks about negative partisanship like this. Because, listen, all of us would probably agree if Trump implemented Medicare for all, no bullshit, and it was straight up Medicare for all, I would build a statue to Donald Trump, okay? We would all love that. Having said that, though, on the flip side, if a Democrat were to take a right-wing healthcare plan, they would not like it. We know this because Obama took the Heritage Foundation's plan, the Affordable Care Act, and he implemented it, and they fucking hated it, which is why they now don't have a healthcare plan, because that was their healthcare plan. So what are you going to do? Like more subsidies for health insurance companies? So it's crazy that of all people, he says, no, it's the Democrats. They are the ones who are hyper partisan. Bitch, your team is the one that started all this hyper partisanship.
But even to his point, even if that was true, it's not at all like what he's proposed so far is to take things like, okay, let's replace seed oil with beef tallow because deep frying food in beef tallow is somehow healthy now. It's still bad for you. And the taking colorants out of Fruit Loops, no one's on the other side of that. If you want to take artificial dye out of Fruit Loops, I'm not going to fight you. I'm not going to be like, that's a bad thing. But none of them are addressing the real problem, the sugar, the fat, the salt that is in all processed foods. And the reason he won't go after that is those companies would be like, no, you don't fuck with the bag. This is what gets kids addicted to this shit. This is what gets them eating this stuff, right? So to pretend like he's just trying to make the kids healthy and now people are mad at him because of something. No, the guy is an anti-Semitic, transphobic, racist quack who peddles nonsense, and he's not doing anything to make America healthy. It's like if you try to fool people with this, that's dangerous too, right? And I think some people will fall for that.
Not only are they failing to deal with those concerns, but like to say specifically that they want to take poisons out of the food you're feeding your children, while they're specifically dismantling the EPA and getting rid of the Clean Air Act, like the forever chemicals that are getting into the soil because they don't want to fucking check for them anymore. It's such a backwards opposite of reality take.
But you know what, brother? None of that shit matters because nobody reads. Nobody reads. Nobody knows any of that shit y'all just said. Nobody fucking cares, brother. And let me tell you something. What dominates the day, and this is where Democrats have been fucking up for a while, what dominates the day is the narrative. And Democrats have allowed the Republicans to control the narrative on every single front. There's no reason we should be calling that dumb shit the big beautiful bill and all that. There's no reason that term should have dominated. No, it's kind of the same argument as Obamacare, which was literally just a Republican PR term and whatnot. That should not be called that. It is the Affordable Care Act. It is law. It is a law. It is much more than just the healthcare aspect of it. It changed how healthcare is done. And so that in and of itself, I love how Chris Pratt is really, in seeing that clip for the first time, that is really just indicative that these people are all on one accord, because the new talking point that I've been seeing online, and I don't know if y'all have seen this, is that even the bots online are leaning into both sides are fucking terrible and whatnot, so it doesn't matter. Remember the time Democrats did this and whatnot. And granted, I am absolutely somebody who is going to pick apart politicians. I will always say, I've said on this show, these people are my employees. I will criticize my employees as I see fit. Now, but with that being said, it's such a precise pivot, because now anybody on the right who is questioned about anything the right is doing, anything the Republicans are doing, is able to sort of pivot into being the sensible party, into being the ones that are like, well, did you think about it like this? Or actually, he's doing this good thing, and actually this is happening, when none of that's actually happening. Just like Thought Slime said, none of that's actually happening, first of all. And second of all, but it doesn't matter, because it's about the narrative. It's about the narrative. And let me tell you, you can't fight. You can, but the Democrats right now are not poised to. These people are not fighting the outright lies. It is so hard to fight outright lies. RFK Jr. is literally making up epidemiological data, putting real people's names on it, and those people are having to speak out to the New York Times saying, I don't know what this is. This study was never done. I have no idea what's happening. JD Vance is on TV making up statistics and whatnot about crime being lowered, all these different things and whatnot. And so you can't tell me that Chris Pratt got on Bill Maher and whatnot and didn't have those talking points ready to go based upon some nonsense that somebody told him. Like, it's all, and it's so hard to bed this down, because Bill Maher's not fact checking anybody in real time. Like he's Bill Maher. Nobody's fact checking these people, not in real time, not when they have to answer for these things. So you can't fight
one of the aspects that really horrifies me is that while you're trying to fact check them, they've moved on to the next thing, right? Like that idea that you just said about like how people are trying to equivocate the two. Any centrist or anyone who's been trying to put you in that position, like what are the two sides saying right now? One side is like, we are actively involved in the neo-Nazi Aryan supremacy project. And the other side was like, we want you to have healthcare. So the centrist position is a rolling red carpet for the extremists. If you're trying to like say this is somehow an equivalence, like I'm not you, I'm talking about the people who do that.
No,
that's fucked. Yeah. Like they're rolling out the carpet for this shit.
To even see the way that Chris Pratt constructs this in this clip, where he's like, one group of people is saying one thing, another group of people is saying another thing. I don't know which is true. Well, fucking go find out, dude. Like, educate yourself. Like, you've created this framing where it's impossible to ever know anything, and we all just have to take every opinion as though it has equal weight.
And
But
that's disgusting.
Yeah. I was going to say, coming from a guy like RFK Jr., that's so wild too, because he's the one who didn't believe that HIV causes AIDS. He put that in his book. He thinks that microplastics cause trans people or gender dysphoria. He thinks that like the COVID vaccine was engineered to spare COVID itself was engineered to spare Ashkenazi Jews. Like that, he's so far extreme in the other direction that you can't entertain a middle ground with that, right? Like that just has to be called out for insanity and just leave it there.
It has to.
Yeah.
And it's so demoralizing too, because it was announced today that like 600 people at the CDC are being let go. I feel like we have all collectively deluded ourselves into that the pandemic never actually happening, and that people like me didn't have to get escorted to their vehicles by police from the hospitals and whatnot, and from their jobs and from the universities and whatnot. Like that actually happened. We literally just had a mass shooting at the Center for Disease Control. Like this is not harmless information. You can't just purport out that vaccines make people sick, that they alter their DNA and whatnot, and expect that to just be treated as harmless information that doesn't bother anybody and that it's not that bad. Chris Pratt saying in that video, oh, well, is he really that bad? And really the rehabilitation of his family member, because you see in the very beginning of that clip, I don't know if you caught that, he's really throwing Trump under the bus and whatnot in an effort to kind of spare RFK Jr. Well, let me tell you something, brother, 100 years from now, we will still be dealing with the effects of what RFK Jr. is doing right now. We will still be dealing with it. He is,
if we're alive,
in my opinion, I'm biased as an epidemiologist, he's the worst part of the Trump presidency. He is the worst part of all this.
Well, and part of it that's so infuriating as well is that like, for all this talk of like these anti-vaxxers, we heard for years during this whole anti-vax hysteria with the COVID vaccines, oh, it's about freedom, it's about freedom, it's about freedom. And now like the first thing he does is now we get no new booster, taking that away from us. Canceled, what was it, like $500 million in funding for mRNA vaccines, like cancer mRNA vaccines, to be clear. So like cutting edge research, gutting that. Thankfully, there's other funding. That's not the totality of their funding, but like all of the progress that we were making has just been like axed by this one kook who thinks that he knows everything, who thinks that drinking raw milk is good. In fact, he did a podcast. They were hosting podcasts at the White House, and he had some, I don't know, health and wellness person, and they did like a shot of raw milk together. It's like, why is this fucking moron who swims in jeans and shit water in charge of our public health? Like, it feels like we're in some type of like dystopian idiocracy movie, but it's real life. Like it's stranger than fiction. I still can't get over it, honestly.
It's like I don't even think his policies are popular. The only reason he was like given this position was because he had an electoral base that they wanted to win over at the time. Like,
yeah,
nobody even likes this shit, you know?
They're trying to make it that way, though. The misinformation and whatnot is also crafting a narrative in real time. They're still trying to make it as to where it could be popular. Because at its core, the Republican Party is still trying to pretend that they are the party of small government, that they are about fiscal responsibility and whatnot. But even so, because now the narrative with what RFK Jr. is doing is that, oh, well, he's just cutting funding. It shouldn't be this many people doing this anyway. It shouldn't be, we're going to save some money and whatnot. It's bloated, it's fat. Like, it's still that kind of Doge narrative. But the fact of the matter is that for every dollar spent on NIH research funding, on National Institute of Health, which is what he is also over, it generates almost $3 in economic activity. That includes like research funding and whatnot that goes at the university level. It includes our next generation of scientists, our next generation of doctors and whatnot. I know because I literally just had to, through my foundation, pay for the final year of a girl's research at her school in the Northeast and whatnot, because you cut the funding for her graduate research. Like, it generates the research that goes into our pharmaceuticals. It goes into like how we are going to train this next generation, like what it's going to be, like the new vaccines, what we are losing and I need Democrats to get on one accord about this too, because there's also this delusional belief that in 4 years' time, or however long we have till 2028, that if we just, vote harder, one more vote, bro, just vote harder one more time, that a Democrat could reverse what is happening. A year of scientific research being lost, being canceled and whatnot, a year of clinical trials being canceled is an eternity scientifically. That is people who were sourced, who were tested, who were a certain age at a certain time, who had experienced certain things and whatnot. It's so much that goes into this precise research that was already ongoing, had been going on for 10, 20 years and whatnot, canceled. We will never recover from this as a country in our lifetime.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I mean, I can make you Americans feel pretty happy to know that Canada has the measles capital of North America. So Alberta's beating you. Alberta has more measles than any of y'all have, so we did it.
I raise you that. We had a case of the plague in the United States.
Ooh.
So
plague is back.
Checkmate.
The bubonic plague. Oh, we gotta start busting out those weird crow hats.
Yeah,
and, like, pulling out the smoke tinctures and everything.
I love how my reaction to that, as I'm scrolling by and I see the headline, I'm like, sounds about right. Yeah, I mean,
sounds about RFK Jr. Gotta be honest with you.
Yeah, I'm surprised it didn't come back sooner. I mean, all these like ancient diseases that we cured, I feel like he's like trying to summon them from their deaths just to like fuck with us and like punish us.
He's working for Nurgle, the plague god.
Yeah. It's just, it's exhausting because every single day there is something more terrible that happens, and when you think that the bar like cannot be surpassed, they surpass it. And it's crazy because like in Trump's first term, there were every now and then he would do something that was neutral. Most of the time he would just like fuck around and talk shit, but he'd do some neutral things. He'd do some objectively good things in my opinion. Like, I think that him trying to establish connections between North and South Korea, that's great. That's awesome. I give him credit for that. You know what I mean? But like this time, it's like he is trying to seek out the most evil things he could possibly do and doing them. And for all of like my worries about what he would do if he was elected again and how it would affect the country, it pales into comparison with what's actually happening. It's so much worse than I ever could have even fathomed. And I just don't know like how we can survive 4 whole years of this, like just because, like to Gabrielle's point, like I think that people are still on this wavelength, or in this mindset rather, where like they think, okay, we just have to get some Democrat in there to clean it up in 1 or 2 terms, and I just don't think that you can go back after this. Even like just with regard to democracy, like we have somebody who is an authoritarian strongman who has been given near absolute immunity by the Supreme Court, a loophole to basically violate the Constitution now that they killed a nationwide injunction, so he could just do something. He's trying to get rid of the 14th Amendment's, birthright citizenship clause. So, like, a country can't just go back to a non-authoritarian after that. Like, every president has consolidated power and built upon what the predecessor has done. Like, we're not just going to get a small d Democrat next time. Like, it's going to be an iteration of Donald Trump. And maybe we'll get a Democrat that is going to maybe take us a little bit further towards positivity, but like they can't undo everything that's happening because Trump is doing all of this unilaterally. And like to Gabrielle's point, like the repercussions of this, it's going to last so long, like the ripple effect. It's almost inconceivable and overwhelming because like, God damn. And I don't want to be overly doomer, but it's just like, I think it's important for people to understand that like the gravity of the situation, because these aren't normal times and you're not going to like simply undo what's happening now with another election. Like there needs to be like revolutionary activity to like actually right the wrongs, because there's just, I don't know. And it's not just like, I don't even like the idea of people pondering, oh, well, we'll just get a Democrat in and we'll change these policies. I don't just want like good policies now. Like I'm all on board for like good stuff. Medicare for all, obviously. I want revenge. Like we need actual revenge. Like I don't want just like ICE to be abolished. I want all of the ICE agents to be prosecuted, tried for crimes against humanity. Like we can't just like go back to normal after this. Like the country like just passed a Rubicon and there's no going back after this. Like I don't think people understand that.
the same way that like after World War II, you couldn't just have a democratic election in Germany without denazification.
Right. Exactly.
But you can't say any of that on any of the social media apps and whatnot, because then you're lazy and then you want Trump to win again and then you want the Republicans to take over and whatnot, and then you're being unrealistic and all that good stuff. I keep telling people, especially because somebody like came at me today about it. I feel like online people don't know where I fall. They're like, oh, well, like both sides hate me. But at the end of the day, I will always give Trump his credit, because Trump doesn't take credit for the good things he actually did, because it doesn't play well to his narrative. Like, for example, I had $137,000 of graduate student loans from Tulane, shout out to Tulane, for my epidemiology degree. Had he not paused student loan interest, I would not. I'm in shooting distance of paying mine off. I'll be done in a year. Had he not paused that interest, it likely would not have happened, especially not this quick anyway. I will always give Trump that. Trump also signed the First Step Act of 2018, which made sure, amongst a lot of things in that bill, that incarcerated women who are in federal prison have access to menstrual products, that they cannot be chained while they are giving birth and whatnot. Those are good things. Those are objectively, factually good things that he will never acknowledge and never take credit for and whatnot, because it doesn't fit his narrative. This second term of his is not about politics. It's about a revenge vendetta that he has, and he's trying to have the world force fit the world into seeing him the way he already sees himself. That's why I really don't pay too much attention to what he's talking about and what he's doing. This isn't about anything. There's no larger conspiracy and whatnot with him. He's just a sociopath. But when we're talking about the failures of the party itself and what needs to happen going forward, because the first thing somebody said to me online is, people like you never have any solutions and whatnot. There is no one solution. There's hundreds of solutions. There's thousands of solutions and whatnot. And let me tell you, it's not going to be in this messianic worldview that people have, that one motherfucker is going to show up, register in time for 2026 and whatnot for the midterm, shoot it up the scoreboard to 2028, and then just fix all this by basically Christmas. Like, that's not going to happen. And because all this didn't start yesterday. This didn't start yesterday. This didn't start last year and whatnot. This didn't even fully start with Trump. The failures of the Democratic Party to meet this moment have been in play since really like the Occupy Wall Street movement and whatnot, and the recession of 2008. The failure,
I would say, since the Clinton administration.
Really, absolutely. The failure to act on these certain types of people and whatnot, the failure to act, both sides of it, the failure to act and make sure that people who are committing crimes are held accountable and whatnot, only ever rolled us to an administration that is now fully and openly a crime syndicate.
Yeah, they were compliant in advance, which is kind of the scariest thing, right? Like you can even look towards how many Democrats right now are fighting Zoran Mamdani harder than they're fighting the Trump administration. They're spending more oxygen and more time out of their day to go onto TV and to talk about how, well, I mean, like, you know, I'm not one to talk ill of a fellow Democrat, but it is weird how he had rent control, and that's why doesn't anyone talk about that? You know, kind of thing.
People in that city have rent control.
I was like, it's one of the things he's advocating for. This is madness. I can't, like, I'm just sitting there being like, oh, the guy who wants you to have rent control experienced rent control. Maybe that's why he liked it. I don't know. But why?
It's also, it's one of those issues that, like, big level Democrats are convinced people don't like rent control for some reason. That if you tell someone like, we're going to make it so that they can't make your rent more expensive, people are going to be like, no,
how dare you? I deserve to be gouged in every corner of my life.
Which, by the way, pet peeve of mine, that what I just described, by the way, would be more draconic than what rent control actually is. Rent control doesn't mean that your landlord can't raise your rent. They can. They just have to provide some value to you in order to justify that. They have to do a repair on the unit, or they have to like include some amenity that they didn't before. So it could not be like a smaller, more common sense fucking thing.
I love hearing about like tenants' rights and stuff y'all have other places, because brother, in the South, you miss a month's rent, they are filing those fucking papers at the courthouse on you. You are out there.
Yeah, the differences are pretty striking. Like I live in British Columbia, Canada, and you're not allowed to raise the rent per year more than 2%. And most of the law and the way the system works is in favor of the renters. So it's actually really, really hard for a landlord to just be like, I'm evicting you because I feel like it. Like you have to actually go through a lot of steps, right? Like there's exceptions like there is everywhere else. It can be for if you're got a family member moving in, but then you have to give the person 2 months notice. And in a lot of cases, you might even have to pay for 1 month of rent for that person to be able to move to somewhere else, right? Like they're really in favor of renters' rights, just built into the law itself, which is
amazing.
I didn't think it was actually strong until I talked to people in the States, and they're like, "What? I missed a payment. My stuff is literally outside, and there's a cop at the door." Yeah,
like, no second chances. You're fucked.
No.
Yeah. To go back to what you all were saying about like Democrats and how you can't criticize them, otherwise you're seen as like inadvertently helping Trump and the Republicans.
Yeah.
I feel like that is part of the reason why we're in this predicament, because like
yes,
if
sir.
you look at every point in history, part of the reason why things kept getting worse is because Democrats never fight. They always capitulate. It's always them being dragged by Republicans. Going back to Clinton, like that was the response to the Reagan Revolution, where Bill Clinton came up with triangulation and this third way, and he did welfare reform and these neoliberal reforms. He repealed Glass-Steagall. And, the welfare reform fucked over my family. Like, my family was always more like normie, mostly conservative, socially conservative. But, when my conservative dad saw that welfare reform had fucked him over personally because he was on it, he was pissed off at Bill Clinton. But, like, with everything, whenever Republicans go to the right, and I'm kind of describing the ratchet effect, Democrats never combat what they're saying. It goes back to this thing about the narratives, right? Where for year after year after year of Biden as president, we hear open borders, open borders, open borders. Until people just started to believe, oh yeah, we have open borders in this country. When if you look at actual deportations, Biden was deportating at an alarming fucking rate. And so like there was no defense though. There's no defense. No, we don't have open borders. Yes, we are deporting people. We have this process. We've given legal status to this group of people, but here's what we're like. There's no attempt to try to bring facts to the conversation with regard to trans rights. Like we saw them just like out of nowhere fabricate this hysteria over drag queens for the first time in a very long time. There were no bills in 2019 regarding drag queens, but by 2023 there were multiple bills in most red states about drag queens in particular, and they just like concocted
Democrats
this
are
issue.
taking a right-wing stance on trans rights, or at least they're trying to be like, I think there's something to be said about listening to some of their arguments. Like you got Pete Buttigieg and Gavin Newsom both being like, well, maybe there's something to be said. We have to listen to them, Like I was like, listen to the people who actively want these people eliminated from society. That doesn't make any sense to me. Like why
they always get dragged by Republicans.
The jig is absolutely up with Pete Buttigieg. Like, I'm sorry. Like, the jig is so up with him because, girl, we see you growing out that beard and whatnot and, like, wearing fucking Wranglers and shit at the fucking... Like, we see you, girl. We see your play at it. We see it. Like, and it's not cute. We see your play for 2028, girl. Like, it's really actually pathetic and you should be ashamed of yourself. It's so... Like, tone it down just a little bit, sweetheart. Like, what is literally happening? Because and I will say to your point, number one, why would Democrats push back and whatnot? They have the same donors as Republicans, so why would they push back on any of this? Number two, in my opinion, and I will say, like, there's no real reason to kind of push back on these things because centrists are always going to have your back no matter what, as far as anything the Democrats want to do, because centrists don't really exist. I have said before, centrism, a centrist politics and whatnot change depending on who they're standing next to. It's always a moving target, a moving goalpost and whatnot. These people have no real politics. They're just marketed as the invisible, reasonable adult in the room. And with that being said, you can always capitulate to that kind of person and whatnot who doesn't stand for anything, who has no integrity, who has no real hard issues that they're standing on. Because if you say that, hey, this is the one thing that I really care about and whatnot, whatnot, then you're seen as a single issue voter, and that is worse than a fate worse than death in the Democratic Party. Even though Republicans are allowed to be single issue voters, and that's all well and fine. They can say, "Oh, I care about the economy. Oh, this is that and the third." Democrats, we have to look at the big picture and whatnot, and start and just the capitulation begins immediately.
Yeah. Well, and to your point about this like mythical centrist, like Chuck Schumer made up centrists in his mind. He has imaginary friends. Have you all heard this? Like he has imaginary
I was about to say the exact same thing you're saying right now, but I was like, Mike got there first. But I was like, yeah, not only is that example that Gabrielle was talking about real, he actually manifested it his entire career.
And they will also they will do that shit, and then they'll claim that the left is out of touch with people. Like, oh no, the guy in my head who tells me I'm right about everything says you don't know what you're talking about.
The Baileys.
Noodles on the left don't know the Baileys. Okay, the Baileys are a real American family.
Yeah, I hate that. Thought Slime. I hate that claim that we hear all the time. Oh, the left. They're so out of touch with working people. They're in an echo chamber. It's like, listen. The reason why I am so staunchly like leftist is because I have these motherfuckers in my family. Like they are Trump supporters, hardcore Trump supporters, evangelicals. Like I do know them. It's not like I'm in this bubble. Maybe online I'm in a bubble like on Twitter, but that doesn't matter. Like in the real world, like a lot of people deal with them. Even in like in a deep blue state like that I'm in. There's a lot of right wingers. Like you leave Portland, you go 30 minutes north from Portland, you're into like some real redneck territory where people are racist as fuck. So like
see those giant signs like Christ is King that are covered in blood and stuff like that. Yeah, like every time I hear it, I'd be like, oh wow, shit got real. I just left in Portland for like 20 minutes and I'm like, oh my god. Like,
you want to stay in Portland or in the Tri-Cities area. You don't want to leave Portland, okay?
Yeah,
I love
just
how
look up
scandalized
Oregon's
y'all are by
founding.
that. This is so because that's a quick trip to the Walmart for us down here in Louisiana. Let me tell you. And so you'll see things like where my best friend lives, like down in Fort Lauderdale and whatnot. She'll always tell you stay away from North Florida and whatnot unless you want to see billboards that say she's your daughter, not your date. Like it's real tough down here in the South. Yeah. So we're used to that kind of shit. Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Jumping back to the talk about centrists and just who exactly is out of touch. To Gabrielle's point, the reason that they will look at us and say that we are like in a bubble or that we are so in intellectual lockstep is because they can't imagine having certainty about a political issue. It's to them, when you speak with confidence and you know what you're talking about, to them it reads as insanity because why would you believe something? Why would you have a conviction? No, you just like go where the wind takes you.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I've heard many times the left is in a cult. Like that's what Tim Pool said to us when I was like, he was like, "You're all in a cult. You all have to say the same thing, and if you don't, you're kicked out of it. If you don't have the ideology or the orthodoxy, everyone will like pounce on you if you say the wrong thing." And then I was like, if you're talking about like I don't know what you think cancel culture is or virtues, that aside, I was like, I've seen those studies that show that a lot of people on the left actually have a lot of the same beliefs because a lot of it is usually based in science, facts, data, reality, right? And then I was like, yeah, if that's your worldview, if you're like, I actually want to know based on empirical data why something works and then base stuff off of that, which is to me the best way to do a lot of stuff in life. Not in terms of like, you should only govern based on the what is most popular, but I mean more like I like that vaccines work because we've done peer-reviewed studies on them, right? Like, or I like that we understand how the Human Genome Project was mapped. That's cool. I think that's neat. That's I don't think that's leftist. I just think
we're not in favor of vaccines out of a sense of class solidarity.
I gotta push back on that, Lance, though, because I mean, while that may be true, we as the left do not organize as a monolith and as people with shared ideals the same way that the right does. And that is what the Republicans have always kind of had a leg up on Democrats with in terms of how they can strategize together. Because again, we did not get to this moment in a monolith and whatnot. They know how to affect things on, they will work as a party to start changing the cultural conversation before these things ever become policy. They'll test the waters that way and whatnot. And then by the time it becomes policy, everybody was already lockstep anyway at the kitchen table conversations and whatnot, down at the church and Mima and them's house and whatnot. Like they were already lockstep because those small level organizing was happening amongst their base. And so while organizing is much more in your face and it's much more, I will say, inconvenient for a lot of people and whatnot on the left, like we associate organizing, we associate that political strategy and whatnot with more leftist politics because, you know, we're the ones out protesting this, that, and the third. Their level of strategic coming together for their base honestly has always outpaced ours since probably the 90s.
If you're unified by a hatred of what you consider to be wokeness or you want liberal tears, I feel like they care sometimes more about that than what will actually be fucking them over. And I think that is actually a very large mindset. Yeah, and that's a very large galvanizing project. Like, as much as I can, shit on Democrats, if you're a person who genuinely gets off to watching people who speak Spanish have their lives destroyed, right now you must be just celebrating if you're an American, right? Like if you're sitting there every day and it's like, I actually like watching Mexicans be torn from their mother's arms. So this is awesome for me, right? Not even thinking for a second, what is this going to do to the entire food production industry if all of a sudden the labor force is gone tomorrow? What's going to happen when tariffs increase the price of all commodities? What's going to happen in a year's time, right? Like we're not even seeing the worst effects of that, and it's already a surge in the pricing of most commodities. Like you don't. But
you're missing it though, Lance. You're missing it. That's not the way for which they have been. That's not part of the strategy. The strategy is not about what's gonna happen. It's not about that. Even the people who don't have like a sick narcissism and enjoy seeing these, like torture videos that are circulating all over the internet, they have already been indoctrinated to the point where they're saying, hey, this is terrible, but because I've already spent 20 years being told that this had to happen and we had to get these people out of here for the greater good of everybody, then I'm gonna allow this. That is where the cult mindset comes from and whatnot. And we continue to see it in real time and whatnot. Whenever something happens, whenever something terrible is going on and whatnot, or even when Donald Trump is caught in a lie and everybody starts to waking up for a second in the eyes of Democrats. But no, the goalpost continues to move and whatnot because that is how it works with cults. Cults are really around like an ideology. It's not even about the actual person themselves. That's why I continue to tell people Trump's going to die one day. All men die. Ideologies don't. And so what continues to hold the cult together is this 50-year project from the Republicans and whatnot of, hey, this is what it has to be. We've been working towards this. Yo, Mima, yo, mama, everybody has told you this is what it had to be. And it's bolstered by the law. It's bolstered by the church. It's like these people have been waiting on this day because they have been told for multiple decades that it had to happen.
Yeah. It's to me, I think that a lot of it is they knowingly fuck themselves over, but they don't care because they still feel better. Like it emboldens them. It makes them feel better if they're able to they think
they're winning. It's like a team sports.
Yeah, the social order. Like to give you an example, I suspect that one of my siblings voted for Trump because of our trans niece, and they wanted to just fuck over our trans niece. But once the big bullshit bill passed, my mom had told me that they were freaking out about losing Medicare because they're on Medicare, and if they lose Medicare, they probably die. They have a
brother.
They have an illness that is they need healthcare. But after that, they were antagonizing anti-Trump protesters. So at first I thought, oh, okay, so they're regretting it maybe, and then I hear, oh no, they're like throwing it in the faces. Yeah, go Trump to anti-Trump protesters. And I'm like, so this is just about no, I want a Christian supremacist nation. And if I have to cut off my fucking nose to spite my face to get that, I'm going to do that. If I can, force my gay brother to marry a woman, I'm going to fucking do that. It's about creating a world that they want to live in. And they just they just view like the setbacks, like the tariffs and the cost of living going up because of Trump's policies as a bump in the road. They genuinely could not care less about how they get fucked over, how our mom gets fucked over who's on Social Security. It's crazy because like you would
Did
think
they not
that
watch the Care Bears as kids? Did they not see all the cartoons?
I don't know, man.
I feel like it failed them somehow. How do you grow up and think like I want bad people to win and good people to suffer, and that's how I want to do the rest of my life?
You know what it's called though? There's a name for that. You know what it's called? It's called drain pool politics. Have you ever heard of that? Drain pool politics. So y'all, some of y'all are Canadian. So listen, let me back it up for y'all a little bit. Bring out back in time. So us in the South, especially during the Jim Crow South years, and because my parents were both born and raised during that time, during the Jim Crow South, there used to be public pools everywhere. You could throw a rock and hit a public pool and whatnot, but they were only for white people, and only white people could swim in those pools. A big part of the integration movement, the anti-segregation movement, wasn't just the bus system, because you've heard of the Montgomery bus boycott. It was also integrating pools. And so Black kids, Black leaders and whatnot would organize protests and whatnot to be able to go to these pools and swim. And so they were met with all kinds of violence and whatnot. Police would shoot at them. There's also a famous photo of a hotel owner pouring acid in a pool of Black people and whatnot because he didn't want them swimming there. And so as a result of this coordinated, across the entire Southeast US, this coordinated sit-in, I guess you could say, of public pools, they were drained, they were filled in with concrete and whatnot. And so you really don't see public pools anymore. If you want to go swim, you got to join like a gym, whatever. And so that in and of itself is an example of the fact that white people will cut off their nose to spite their faces and whatnot. So drain pool politics describes the draining and the ending of publicly funded resources and whatnot, despite the fact that a majority of people are benefiting from them.
Mm-hmm. That's perfect. I didn't know that there was a name for that, but that is absolutely perfect. Yeah.
And sad.
It is sad. It's so sad.
How do you reverse this? Because like back to my earlier point, right? Like I thought like so much of early childhood entertainment was usually centered around just very simple, basic things, from like, the Bernstein Bears all the way to the Care Bears. It was kind of just like you should be nice and kind to people, and people who are having it harder than you, whether that be because they're poor or whatever reason, you should try and help them. And that was just kind of it, right? And then like I don't remember like at what point did that switch, or did people like I know the indoctrination of a family is much worse, and then obviously the group think's much worse too, but it's so strange to me to see this being a mass societal thing where it's like I'll literally shoot myself in the dick if it means you suffer a little more, and
but it makes sense though from a capitalist standpoint,
right?
Yeah, it's just like when they start talking about like the sin of empathy and shit like that, where it's like, I get how you can twist yourself into some sort of logic pretzel where you don't see that you're hurting yourself. But when you're actually like saying, no, I'm willing to hurt myself, I'm willing to drain the pool so I don't get to swim either, just to keep someone else from doing it, it's like, what are you even fucking doing?
And everybody needs to be on the lookout for that type of like talking point ideology too, because as a Christian, like I'm peeping it from the evangelicals. In fact, recently, and I saw the book on Spotify. I'm not going to shout this woman out. I'm not going to shout this book out. This woman is an idiot. Like this whole thing is an idiot, but she's making the rounds. Like she's trash. And there was a follow-up article to her book. And it was talking about how the left is weaponizing Christian empathy, or weaponizing empathy against Christians, basically saying that to advocate for the immigrant, to say things like, hey, Jesus was an immigrant, to say things like, hey, we got to, rebuke the oppressor, defend the widow, advocate for the rights of the poor and whatnot, that we are weaponizing empathy against Christians. And I guess only people on the right can be Christians. It's pure insanity, but she is making the rounds and being treated as if she is an expert in the field.
That's wild.
Like, and so here's what the question I would pose to Jesus Christ is, why are you not flipping their tables that they've made a whorehouse of your father's temple? Like, why are you sitting back on that? Because it just seems like that should be really getting your goat.
He could smite them, but he's not.
We could use a little smiting, I think. Not
it
to tell
almost
him his
comes off like
job,
an
but
endorsement. I'll
yeah.
tell him his job. Like, it sounds like you're endorsing them. So, Jesus, your move. All right, you want me to believe? Let's strike some motherfuckers with lightning. Okay, starting
Well,
with
I think the
select few
Botox
individuals.
industry is. I think Jesus is doing an excellent job using the Botox industry and whatnot to start smiting everybody on the right. Like, I think he's doing an excellent job with that. I think that my Lord and Savior is doing an excellent job by making sure that they all have to look in the mirror at that purge mask from the first one, not the second movie.
They don't have reflections at this point.
They're all vampires.
Let's to your point about like Care Bears and like children's entertainment. The quote I always keep coming back to is I saw this on Twitter back when Twitter was good or better than it is now. Yeah. Someone said, "Captain Planet's not real, but his villains are."
Yeah. Ooh,
oh, shit.
Banger. That's a banger.
Yeah. Well,
damn.
Yeah, I don't know if this was original, but I was thinking the other day and I ended up skeeting it on Blue Sky that Superman's not real, but the world has a lot of Lex Luthors.
Lance, don't ever say that fucking word again, Lance. Like, I've already kind of bullied people off of Blue Sky from saying the word speed. Don't you fucking ever.
It's also especially funny.
I have no choice in the matter. My hands
are Newfoundlander. The word skeet has a completely different connotation. I know that to many of you it means to ejaculate, but to me, a skeet is like a low class kind of person, a person who's violent and kind of.
Oh, really?
Yeah. That's what it means in Newfoundland.
Yeah, I did not know.
LOL at these connotations.
Yeah. So to the Care Bears point, this is my interpretation, and this is just me psychoanalyzing based on like what I know. I have multiple MAGA siblings, MAGA aunts, uncles, and stuff like that. My family's evangelical, so like you know the types. But I think that when they saw Care Bears raised the same way as me, but they have a different mindset. And so like when they see the Care Bears or Sesame Street say sharing is caring, they think, oh, that's wonderful. So you have to share with me, because these people are like main characters in a story that everybody else is living in. So they can never like hurt you. You always hurt them. There's no way in their minds that they could ever be anything but the victim. And it kind of plays into this like persecution complex that you see with all Christians. And part of it is personality. And a lot of it is narcissism, but it's also something that you're kind of conditioned to accept as an evangelical, because all throughout like growing up as a kid, I would watch these like really shitty low budget like Christian TV shows about how there's going to be revelations and everybody's going to have the mark of the beast and Christians will be persecuted. They won't be able to shop at grocery stores if they don't get the mark of the beast or if they don't accept Jesus. And there's going to come a time when Christians are going to be running from the government. Like, you are trained to think that you are going to be like hunted if you're a Christian. So they built in this idea that, oh my God, as a defense mechanism, we've got to be on offense 100% of the time. And so, like, if you already have a narcissistic personality disorder, like some of my siblings do, like that with the persecution complex is like the perfect storm to be like indoctrinated into the MAGA cult. Because like Trump kind of like, he gives you permission to live out all of your worst impulses, to be a shitty person, to cheat on your wife, to abuse people, manipulate people, lie, cheat, steal. And so like they kind of see themselves in him. Because it's like what they previously thought was them being a bad person. It's like, no, actually, you could be the president of the United States and just be like this. I guess it's not that I'm a bad person. I guess I need no self-reflection because he's very clearly not being introspective. That's like my read on it. But every person is different. A lot of Americans are just dumb as shit too. So that's part of it.
You don't need self-reflection and whatnot for like today's Christian today. And I'll say this, and I'll be 10 toes down on this. That goes for the black church and it goes for the evangelicals and it goes for the white right wing. You don't need a lot of self-reflection and whatnot for the mainstream church, because as long as you can bust out that, I hate to use the euphemism, but as long as you can bust out that trump card of Jesus saves, Jesus forgives, you never have to have any kind of real introspection about your behavior and your integrity and all that. You never have to have any of that. And so that is what keeps me from going to church, despite me being extremely, extremely faithful and really believing for my faith, because there is no, it's very surface level. There is no introspection and whatnot. And so whatever you do, whatever you say to somebody and whatnot, grace is, if anything, grace, like Christian grace is weaponized against their own people, because it's used to keep people extremely docile and also at a kind of base level narcissism, like you said, where it's like, I don't have to think about my actions and I don't have to think about what anybody else, and it doesn't matter because Jesus forgives me. I'm not perfect. This is that and the third. That's the narrative. You can always fall back on that as long as a voice inside your head said, you know what, it's fucking cool, bro.
Yeah. It's literally like the meme where it's like, well, look, if I don't sin, then Jesus died for nothing. So I'm just going to be a shitty person and ask for forgiveness later. Like that's kind of how they operate. At least like based on my experience, right? Not everybody is the same. Like a lot of it is they use their religion to justify their existing shitty beliefs. But like, yeah, it really is that sense of I have full immunity. Like I'm untouchable. Like I can hurt somebody. I could treat them like shit because like at the end of the day, if I feign sincerity and ask Jesus for forgiveness, it's erased. It's fine.
And that
2,000-year-old
book, Jesus himself said, no, girl, actually get fucked. That's not what I said.
It's also like, I always love when fake religious people or people that give this appearance of being strictly religious, but don't actually engage with the substance of their own religion, have this idea that they're going to like trick God. Like they're like, oh no, I said I'm sorry, and now you have to let me into heaven. Didn't think of that one, did you? You know, like it's the same way like when like Mormons talk about soaking.
Yeah.
You know, like what do you think that's like got a fucking technicality? They're gonna be like, you got me. You got me.
They stole that from the fucking Catholics. I grew up Catholic. Like the Mormons really just like I was having a random thought and it turned into a rant on Blue Sky and whatnot that went like super viral, where I was just like, the Mormons just like, if you're going to sit down and tell me that Jesus after the resurrection moved to Missouri and whatnot, like that's fine or whatever you want to do, but don't try to take from the Catholics who basically invented anal sex and whatnot as the sex God can't see, to then like pretend that y'all were the ones who invented this. Like, shut up.
A lot of the chats are asking if you can explain soaking. Nope, this is a
PG. Google it.
Every
Google
one of you. Every
but
one of
Google
you.
it in incognito mode.
Yeah, you all
definitely in incognito mode because you don't want somebody to see that you were looking.
You're gonna want to download a Tor browser.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah,
yeah. Do not turn off safe search.
You're all filled with sin right now, and you're not else. So.
Yeah. Some of you won't be able to Google that actually in your red states unless you show your ID. So good luck.
True. Yeah.
Enjoy that.
Or in the UK.
Yeah. How's that free states working out?
Yeah. Yeah. That's fun. So I'm not sure if there's anything else that you all wanted to talk about today, but we're like a half an hour out from the close of the show. We could probably close early, unless you all had anything else you wanted to talk about.
Everybody get vaccinated this fall, please. Thank you.
If you can, I heard it's kind of difficult in the U.S. right now. What with RFK Jr. doing his God's work.
What we've been told is that and there was a conversations about it at work. From what I have been told thus far, CVS and Walgreens is putting out the word. They're like, "Hey, girl, we got the vaccines." I do not know if those vaccines are updated for this new season. At any given moment, there are 4 or 5 wild type, like flu strain wild types and whatnot. At any given moment, you can get vaccinated for the flu all year round. In fact, they typically will push that towards more elderly people. My mother is 75. They typically push that towards her. Because she's immunocompromised, but it's supposed to be updated. There's typically a meeting, there's typically a meeting happening around like April, like March or April of every year and whatnot, for a committee of people to decide what that vaccine is going to look like and whatnot based on WHO recommendations and what the new recipe is going to be. And all of those people were fired by RFK Jr. And so I do not know if the new vaccine will be updated, but what I do know is that immunity is important. Us maintaining some kind of herd immunity as a population is very important. Your individual health, the health of your family, is very important. And I think that keeping that in mind, make sure you're making good decisions for yourself for this upcoming flu season.
Yeah, I think everybody's listening. If you can hear me, 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 if you can Yeah, that's very fair. Well, Mike's not here to say the part we usually say at the end. We had two incredible guests, so I'm going to ask both of you to both promote yourselves, your social media, where people can find you, and then in addition to that, we're going to be doing super chats afterwards. You're welcome to stay for it if you want, but if you were like, I don't want to stick around, you're also welcome to leave at any time. It's totally up to you. So, promote.
Go ahead, Thought Slime.
I am the Thought Slime. You can find me at youtube.com/@ThoughtSlime and youtube.com/@ScaredyCatsTV and on Blue Sky, but I can never remember my fucking Blue Sky username because someone stole Thought Slime and used it to make an impersonation account and then forgot to impersonate me. Slime Mildred at Blue Sky, blah, blah, blah. Apparently.
I'll go. My name is Gabrielle Perry, aka Go Gabrielle on Twitter, X, whatever he's calling it this week. I'm also Go Gabrielle on Blue Sky. That's GEAUX for us Creole Cajuns down here in Louisiana. I'm also, you can find me and my organization, the Thurman Perry Foundation. That's THURMAN Perry Foundation. Make sure y'all subscribe to our newsletter because with the just absolute onslaught of nonsense, my organization is here. My organization is me and like 4 other people, but my organization is really trying to meet the moment. And so in November of this year, we'll start our 6th scholarship cycle where we have essentially accumulated a ton of money all year, and we'll be giving $10,000 scholarships each to women and girls nationwide who are eligible. We will also, in the coming months, this will probably be in like January in the new year, so start this. But given everything that's going on with student loans, we are going to be allocating some funds, at least $10,000 to pay off people's student loans in full. Nice. So feel free to go to ThurmanPerryFoundation.org, subscribe to our newsletter, follow me on any social media because I will be screaming into the void about it. I never show up empty-handed, boys. So y'all let me know, let the followers know, whatever they need, we here.
Love that. Thank you both for coming on. Really enjoyed your company here and having you letting us vent and you venting to us. It's cathartic to feel like, you're not going crazy in the world and there are other people who are normal.
Awesome. Well, I'll let you boys go. It's getting a little bit estrogen in here. Y'all have a great night. Always a pleasure.
You take care.
Always a pleasure. Mike, I gave all the instructions. I said, Mildred is welcome to stay for the totality of the super chats if you'd like to. And I guess
unless I'm made to leave, I don't leave.
Nice.
Okay.
All right.
Perfect.
Awesome.
Did you want to go first, Lance?
Yeah, I don't actually have a lot, so
okay.
It'll be pretty fast. I don't know if you're planning on reading all of David's and Matt's this week, but
yeah, I'll read theirs. Sure.
Okay. Well, I only have 2, so it'll be very quick. Cosmere Dragon, thank you so much for the $5 with the message. Did y'all hear the story about the French streamer who was tortured live for 10 days and passed out on cam? My creatable has been covering the controversy. I did. Shame on Kick. Shame on the people who tortured him, and shame on everyone involved. Really, it's disgusting.
Horrifying. Yeah, this is why you should have some standards on your platforms and not allow just any and everything, because shit like that happens.
I think it was kind of inevitable too, considering that for the longest time, Kick has kind of been leading to this endless farming of more extreme content, like just thing after thing after thing. If you have people who are like, I get more clicks if I travel to Korea and harass local people and steal their food and punch them in the face, and then another people's like, well, I can get more clicks if I strangle my friend until he's unconscious, and then there's nothing done about that, then I mean, I think the platform also bears quite a bit of responsibility outside of the fact that it's really fucked up.
Yeah, it's a race to the bottom, and they created this. Like, that's kind of what they staked their whole brand on and reputation. Hey, you can come here, you can gamble, you can be a Nazi, and people are taking advantage of the quote-unquote freedom that they're allowing.
Yep. The Bay photo, thank you for being a member with a message. Do you think RFK Jr. pre-soaks his genes before working out so he can absorb the methylene blue through osmosis? Definitely. And I think conclusively, science proves this.
And just in case people didn't know why he always swims in jeans and hikes in jeans and works out in jeans, it's because he skips leg day. That's my theory. So he has little tiny bird legs under there.
Even so, it's such a poor choice.
Right, right.
Yeah, that he believes gives him sexual powers. And then thank you, Blue Room, for subscribing, as well as Maple Takes. Take it away, Mike. All you.
Right.
I know you got a lot to go through.
Yeah, I don't know who any of these are for. A lot of them, most of them will probably be for me, but if they're for David, Matt, other channels that are streaming, thank you in advance on their behalf. So thank you to Tim for becoming a member. Appreciate Real John Lithium for the 5 gifted memberships. Very kind of you, John. Thank you so much. Cartoon says, thoughts on Chris Pratt being a fan of RFK Jr. We did cover that, but I know that you sent that before we talked about that, but thanks for the chat. AOD fan says, Mike, have you ever read the Dungeon Crawler Carl series by Matt Dinneman? It's a comedy, sci-fi comedy about video games. I have not, but that sounds interesting, so maybe I'll check that out. I just finished my book, so I need to find something else. Thanks for the recommendation. Joan City says, you see the NYT said GOP VR is way up in 30 states. Yeah, I did see that voter registration is surpassing Democrats. I don't know if it's like up per se, or just like comparatively speaking, it's up compared to Democrats because they're doing so poorly. Honestly, it doesn't surprise me because Democrats are still in this like struggle to figure out like, oh, what do we want to do? Like how much incrementalism do we want to do? How do we stop progressives like Zoran Mamdani? So people hate them still. So yeah, when you keep spitting in the faces of your base, it's gonna hurt. Cartoon says, also thoughts on Trump wanting to replace PBS with PragerU. I think it's him trying to dumb us with BS. Protect public broadcast. Yeah, I mean, obviously, I think that that's disgusting. PragerU is explicitly propaganda material that's actually detrimental, but it's not surprising to me. Donald Trump is trying to rewrite history. He's purging like the Smithsonian of references to like DEI, not DEI, but anything that he views as woke. He's complaining about that they only talk about how bad slavery is because I guess maybe he wants them to do a both sidesism. But yeah, long story short, I'm not surprised at all by that. Cosmere Dragon says, what happened to the plan of bringing Noah Samson as a guest? We were going to bring him on a while ago, but then the whole lawsuit thing happened. So we didn't want to put him in an awkward position because I think that we were going to try to get some tea based on his video about Ethan Klein when they were going back and forth, but then that happened, so we didn't want to put him in that weird predicament. But we'll maybe see if we can get him on again, though.
That's why you had to get me on quick.
Dan, thank you for the membership. Donald James says, I don't know where Matt is at, but I still support him. Matt is on vacation this week. Riddlecore says, hope you can start using the song I made. You all soon. Leftist best. Riddlecore CVE. Yeah, so I'm going to ask Matt, now that you reminded me, to send me the track or maybe send it to Lance so we can mix it in. Because that would be cool. Yeah, I love your track. For sure. Thank you for making it again, by the way. Cosmic Dragon says, as a renaming effort, can we start to call it Big Booty Bill? That works too. Well, that's kind of a compliment, though. So maybe Big Bullshit Bill is what I'm going to stick with just as the default, because I don't want to compliment that bill. Having a big booty is good. Bayphoto says, look up what Chris Pratt did on the set of Parks and Rec to Amy Poehler. It's not okay.
Showed his vein.
I'll have to look it up. I have not seen this.
Just showed his whole ween.
Seriously? Wow.
Like she like opens a door and he's just like fully naked and she was not prepared to see it. And they treat it all like it's all funny, but you can tell everybody's kind of uncomfortable.
What the fuck? So just flashing people. Okay. Can't say I'm surprised. He is a Republican. Melanie says, lowlife slug Riley evicted on Big Brother. Bye. Melanie, what the fuck? You just spoiled it for me. But that's good news. I hate him. For those who don't know, embarrassingly, I watch Big Brother. And Riley is this like Republican dude who's on. He's never said he's a Republican or talked about politics, but he's a Republican, and he is a creep. There's a girl in the house who he's like, I'm gonna marry you when we get out. We're gonna be together whether we like it or not. She's like, okay. It's the dude is a fucking creep. So yeah, that's good news. But fuck you for spoiling it, Melanie. God, now I have no reason to watch the episode. Let me see here. Actually, I'll turn on comments like CD. There we go. Okay, the robot chicken says idiots give equal weight to all the most insane opinions, but when you don't believe in God, they're certain you're going to hell. Right. 20 says, did you see Dobson died? I did. I posted a little champagne gif underneath the Fox News announcement. I was happy to see that. Put a smile on my face. My parents were focused on the family evangelicals, and I took so many spankings due to him. Your friendly local Nintendo nerd. Yeah, that guy has poisoned the minds of so many families. And I know I recognize you with the reference local Nintendo nerd. I actually think I bumped into this person, if this is the right one, in real life, who recognized me. But yeah, so my family didn't follow him, but they were fans of Focus on the Family. I don't remember how much. They were mostly, God, what's the other guy's name? It's a Graham. It's not, I was going to say Lindsey Graham, a different homosexual. It's not Franklin Graham, it's his father. Billy Graham. My family was a fan of Billy Graham, but they were also fans of Focus on the Family, just like Billy Graham was the GOAT to them, if I'm remembering correctly. There was a lot, though. It kind of blends in because I was a kid. Tiger said, and thank you for the generous super chat, Tiger. Even if Dems get control of every seat available right now, the faith in the system is lost forever, and we still have millions of Americans still in the cult. And how can any other country trust us to never let this happen again? I think those are all really valid points, Tiger.
Well,
that's kind of something.
Good news on the last point is every other country is about to follow suit. So
that's fair. That's fair. I mean, this is one of those things where I hate to say it, but it almost has to get worse before it gets better. And I'm not advocating for accelerationism. I'm just saying that for the most part, Americans, if you're privileged and to an extent and you're white, you can still live a relatively normal life in the United States if you like have these blinders on and you don't watch the news. But when it really hits them is going to be when they start to see the cost of living rise even further due to tariffs and shit, which, I mean, the full effect of tariffs, it's starting to trickle in, but it hasn't really taken effect yet. You had a lot of companies stockpile supplies to mitigate the tariffs because they knew that they were coming, but it's starting to happen. You're seeing, the PlayStation rise in price, Nintendo Switch games, $80 now, some games $80 now. You see Project 2025, a group associated with them is now trying to go after Gooner games on Steam. Gamers are having to reckon with the fact that they supported an administration that's against their hobby. So for all the hysteria over Stellar Blade last year, they're about to see some real fucking censorship. So I think if it gets worse, then after that, maybe there will be a temporary awakening before they go back to sleep. I say that because after 8 years of George W. Bush, Americans were absolutely fed up, but things got really fucking bad. We lost civil liberties. He did the Patriot Act, the Iraq War, 1 million plus deaths. So I don't know.
Never got repealed either.
Never got repealed. Obama built on the war on terror. So, it's we'll wait and see. I'm not super optimistic, but maybe our generation will try to reverse it. I don't know. Rachel says, "Thought Slime, stop asking about the library books."
I don't
Is this
understand
an inside
what this
joke?
is in reference to.
Oh, okay. So I was like, maybe it's like an inside joke or something.
Stop asking about the library books.
I don't know. Support your local library. Get a library
Yes,
card.
yeah. Sorry, I don't get it.
V-Man says, with the situation in DC, it's brought up the status issue of both DC and Puerto Rico. Please don't lump the two together. One is a civil rights issue. One is an issue of colonialism. They aren't the same. Absolutely agree with you. Absolutely agree with you. While DC should become a state, Puerto Rico should be able to decide. We shouldn't just be able to take them in as a state. That's wrong. You're seeing what happens when we do that. Like with Hawaii right now, colonialism has fucked Hawaii to an irreversible extent, where you have billionaires basically owning certain islands. It's awful right now, and the desecration of Hawaiian culture, and just like.
And listen, if you want to fucking.
I just heard somebody debating. It sounded.
Weren't me.
It's Lance. Oh, you're muted, Lance.
Sorry, I was trying to screenshot a video in the background that someone sent me, and then it accidentally hit play, and for some reason that went into my mic feed. I take full responsibility.
Computers.
Yes, it was a 2-second sound clip of Ephebophilestheny. I want to get that name right so that
okay.
people don't misaccuse me of calling them Hebophilestyny or pedophilestheny. It's Ephebophilestheny, just so we're clear.
I hate that I recognize the voice, but I couldn't place him like it's a debate, bro.
You're like, I hear debate. I hear debate perverts.
Suddenly I feel condescended to.
Narrator says Gaza is a litmus test for Dems unless it's inconvenient because an AIPAC puppet has a better chance to win and politics is a team sport. Go blue. I think it's definitely a litmus test. If you look on TikTok, people are posting them challenging the guy from Texas who he ran last time, Colin Allred. He threw trans people under the bus, lost, and now he's back. And somebody asked him about Gaza at one of his events, and he just ignored it. Thank you for the question, walked away. Katie Porter was being asked about this. She ignored it. Wesley Bell was at a town hall. This is the individual who was funded by AIPAC that defeated Cori Bush. He was getting his shit reamed at a town hall for it. It is 1,000% going to be a litmus test, and the reason why I'm confident of that is because after Pete Buttigieg shit the bed with that answer on Pod Save America, he actually had to try to not walk it back, but add clarification, which he did not add clarification. But the fact that somebody like him is doing that, you know, it's a good sign. But, you know, there's still a lot of work to be done. Catherine Clark, the number 2 Democrat, she called it a genocide. Day later, said, I'm not accusing Israel of a genocide, walked it back. And then there was an article from, I think, Jewish Insider about how AIPAC was satisfied with Catherine Clark. And they're not going to abandon support because she used the G word. So there's a lot of work to be done. But the base is 1,000%, not with the Democratic Party here. I think it's like 8% that supports Israel's genocide, or it supports U.S. complicity with Israel's genocide. So like 8% doesn't want an arms embargo specifically. So if they don't adapt to their base, they are shooting themselves in the foot for sure. Rachel Atwood says, thoughts on Graham Plattner's new Senate campaign? This dude is a fucking legend immediately. Have you seen his ad, Thoughts Lime?
I don't even know who this is.
Okay, so this is somebody who's challenging Susan Collins in Maine. He is very progressive.
The author of The Hunger Games?
No, so he is a very like regular working class dude, just a regular ass dude, talks like a person, doesn't talk like a politician, very not Mamdani coded, but same politics as Mamdani. But if you looked at him, you'd think this guy's a conservative, but he's not. He has great politics. He supports Medicare for all, pro-equality. He explicitly said this is a genocide in Gaza. Amazing person. If you haven't seen him, look him up. I'm planning another video on candidates that are good. I'm just like trying to weed out who the good ones are and who the bad ones are, because some of them are endorsed by like Bernie Sanders, but they're not necessarily impressive to me. So I've got to suss out who's the bullshitter and who's not. But this is somebody who I'll feature on the next video because he's really great based on what I've seen so far.
It's I don't know, when people talk about like he, you know, talks this way, but I just get horrible flashbacks to when people saying John Fetterman was good.
Right, because
he was not.
Yeah, I will say there were signs that John Fetterman was indeed bad. I think that part of it, at least for me, him being up against what's his name, Dr. Oz, was like, okay, I could look past a lot of this. At least he'll be better than Kirsten
Lesser
Sinema.
of two evils became quite clear there, but
right.
I still can't get over that song. I still get it in my head sometimes. Like, soon may the Fetterman come to bring us radical socialism. And I was like, we got Zionism instead. Not socialism. It was Zionism all along.
Radical Zionism.
Yeah, radical
like,
Zionism.
Straight up CTE fucking brained dipshit. God damn. Anti-immigrant. What the fuck? So yeah. I will always remember that thought slime for sure. Zoran race is a must. Thank you, Cartoon, by the way. Zoran race is a must win because it will affect 2026. I agree. I will say, as time goes on, I am feeling good. I'm never going to let my guard down because I will always remember what happened to India Walton in Buffalo, New York. Just to recap, for those who don't know, she won the Democratic mayoral primary, and then the incumbent Byron Brown launched a sore loser write-in campaign, took lots of Republican money, and beat her with the write-in campaign. Democrats did not step in to endorse the nominee there. They left her out to dry. She was completely fucked over by the establishment. So I will never forget that. Having said that, I feel very good based on polling about Zoran's chances, and I genuinely hope that the establishment figures like Gillibrand, Schumer, Jeffries, Hochul, I hope they don't endorse him, because the longer they wait, the more the case they're making for us, the more they're showing how out of touch and shitty they are. And them not endorsing is pissing off the base who want them to endorse because they want somebody who's going to fight Donald Trump. So I say keep it up because they're helping us, honestly, by being pieces of shit. Okay, so narrator says, e.g., Jeffries has a better chance in the general than any primary challenger, so let's not take a chance of blowing Jeffries' safe seat. Schumer is same. I think narrator is saying that this is what Democrats will say in a primary. Yeah, I mean, they will make the electability argument. They're already making this argument with Zoran Mamdani. There was an article in The Hill that was written by David Schoen. For those who don't know who David Schoen is, this is an individual who was a Clinton advisor. He also worked on Bloomberg's 2020 campaign. And one of his main arguments was that, Democrats can't go down this path with Mamdani because it's going to make the party even more irrelevant. So they're already making that electability argument because it is potent, it scares voters, because neoliberals rely on the threat of fascism to whip voters into shape. Having said that, though, my hope is that the Democratic Party has become radicalized enough to see through the bullshit. There are certain indications that that is the case, just like in the real world. If you go to town halls, Democrats, like normie liberal Democrats, are very, very fired up. They're challenging Democrats. They want them to fight. But we'll see, because a lot can change. I'm hoping for the best, crossing my fingers there. Tiger says, another reason the U.S. is so fucked is when bad people get kicked out, they're never fully held accountable. It should have stopped with the Confederates. That's 1,000% right, Tiger. There's never been accountability for the worst people in this country. We put up statues to the Confederates, Robert E. Lee. Why are we idolizing these fucking people who fought to maintain slavery? So it's not just that we don't hold them accountable. We celebrate them in certain ways. Trump, he fucking tried to overthrow the election in 2020, and then we elected him 4 years later. So there's no disincentive to be a shitty person. You can let your freak flag fly in this country, and you'll be rewarded for it. So that's part of the problem for sure, Tiger. Jesse says, what's happening to Omar is messed up. Dem leadership are willing to collaborate with fascists like Trump and other Zionist billionaires like Ackman. Are we talking about Ilhan Omar or Omar Fatah? Because I'm not sure what's happening with Ilhan Omar. I know that the establishment kind of fucked over Omar Fatah, I think that's his name, where Tim Walz endorsed the incumbent that is basically not a good Democrat. He wasn't endorsed by the party, which is DFL in Minnesota. I'm not super familiar with Minnesota politics, but another situation where, the powers that be don't...
no matter who until it's a lefty. And then it becomes...
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, 1,000%. Yeah, Tim Walz, as much as I appreciate some of the things that he says and the way he fights Republicans...
And the way that he plays Dreamcast.
That's true. And he also has a Lego set. He is seemingly an AFOL, an adult fan of Lego. He has the the Van Gogh Lego set behind him. So I respect that as a fellow nerd. But he hasn't said shit about the genocide. And I'm sorry, but if you're trying to do this truth and listening tour, whatever the fuck he's trying to do, you need to call it a genocide. And I'm consistent. Bernie Sanders Great job trying to get the arms embargo. It's time to use the G word, Bernie. Like, what the fuck are you doing? Like, everybody's got to be held to this standard.
Yeah.
Cartoon says, thank you for the birthday message, and Weapons is a must-see. I've heard that Weapons is
Have you already
really,
seen
really
it this
good.
time? I know you're
Yes.
into scaredy cats. I'm watching it tomorrow, so I'm excited.
Are you?
Yeah.
I really, really want to see it, but I feel
It's really
like
good.
that's one I want to
Yes.
watch at home closer to Halloween. I think it would be, I don't know, because it's a scary movie, right? It's not like a...
Yeah,
It
I'm
is,
I'm
yeah.
a sicko for scary movies. I love scary movies.
I do
don't know why.
too. I try to save them all for October. I watch all the movies throughout the year that I missed, except for Smile 2. I watched that one earlier, but not bad. But yeah, I will definitely see this. I'm debating on if I want to see it in theaters because I try to save it. I'm so close to October, but the hype is killing me because it looks amazing.
It's fantastic, and it's one of those movies you really don't want to get spoiled on.
Ooh, okay, so maybe that's a reason to see it, actually. Lizzie says, nice DBZ shirt. Thank you so much. Have you seen Takopi's Original Sin? Definitely recommended that anime. I have not seen that. Maybe I'll check it out. I'm watching Dragon Ball Super for the first time now, so after that I'll be open for something new. So maybe I'll check that out. I do want to see Solo Leveling still. I haven't watched that. And I'm thinking about Jujutsu Kaisen as well. There's a bunch of shit that I need to watch. I'm making good use of that Crunchyroll subscription. V-Man says, to the centrists who say the left can't win, would LBJ have trounced Barry Goldwater so decisively with just fear-mongering, or did his Great Society proposals win over voters who wanted reform? Checkmate. Thank you for becoming a YouTube member. Rachel Atwood asks, is Gabrielle in touch with Benjamin Dixon as of yet? I could not tell you. I don't know, honestly. Tiger says, growing up Christian, I found a deep hatred of the bigotry of the church and indifference of suffering. I moved deep into radical liberation theology. That's good to hear. Because, yeah, if you are religious and you still believe, yeah, liberation theology is a safer bet. Tim K. Ruler says, terrified of the CDC being mute. Yeah, that's going to fuck us for a long, long time, as Gabrielle was saying. Autistic Goblin says, PSA, indivisible org slash Moshinon. If you are near PA, come protest GEO and ICE on Sunday. Buses from SCPA leave at noon. So thank you for sharing this. So I talked to Autistic Goblin in our Patreon chat. For those who don't know, this is a really cool thing. So I think the lease for an ICE facility or a contract with it's a contract with the city is up. And so they're protesting to try to get the city to not renew. So this facility in particular that's housing immigrants shuts down. So that's what this protest is about. And it seems like they got Indivisible to pick it up, which is really awesome because this was like a small grassroots effort that kind of blew up. So congrats on the success of this. That's really cool that they are the ones who are now helping to organize this. And good luck, because if you guys can get this accomplished, I think this is a great way to resist ICE. Because if you look to the contract your city has and you can get them to terminate them with ICE or not renew them, that's a huge fucking win. I mean, they're going to build concentration camps regardless around the country, but if you can like take away at least some of them, that's really huge and great for your city. So good work to you. Dirty Pirate says, Florida AG urged the Supreme Court today to overturn a state law preventing people under 21 years old from being able to purchase firearms. My state is racing Texas to the basement in hell and might be winning. Yeah, it is a competition between Florida and Texas to be the worst state in the union, but all the other southern states are pretty fucking bad.
How young would it go then?
Yeah, I'm not sure.
Could you have like a little baby buy a gun?
I mean, that's freedom, right?
That's freedom, baby.
ABS says, "Hey Mike, did you hear of a city in either Iowa or Utah that has now put forth a law boycott, divesting, and businesses connecting to Israel?" I've not heard this. Wow, that's actually great. Either state is surprising, honestly, for them to do that. Hell yeah. Chemical Dragon says, "Matt, you guys should have." So this one's for Matt. Thank you for that. Matt, you guys should have Jennifer Welch from the I've Had It podcast on. I recently found her due to the Fox coverage and have subscribed and watched some of their episodes clips. So fucking funny. I would absolutely love to have Jennifer Welch on. I think she's much, much bigger than us. But yeah, I mean, if we could pull that off, that'd be great. I fucking love her. I also recently discovered her. This is somebody who was more, as she described it, she was more of like she supported Hillary Clinton. She didn't vote for Bernie, but then she got deprogrammed. Now she's a huge Democratic socialist. She has attacked Democrats, called out Hakeem Jeffries' connection to AIPAC. She ripped Rahm Emanuel a new asshole for throwing trans kids under the bus. Amazing person. Fucking could be a comedian. Yeah, I love Jennifer Welch and Angie. They're both really great. Pendulous Dragon, thank you for being a member for 22 months. And to Charlie DeGinmer for being a member for 8 months. And Fuggy Bootling says, "Mike, have you read the book Educated by Tara Westover, a girl who grew up in a crazy Christian background but got out? Please read it if you haven't. One of the best autobiographies I have ever read." I have not read that. I will try to remember to put that on my list and check it out. Fart Twain says, "Relationship question." That's a great name. "My GF wants to hang out and go clubbing with her ex. Am I wrong to feel uncomfortable with that?" It's hard to say because I don't know the dynamics of your relationship. I don't know the friendship with the GF and her ex, and I don't know, are we talking gay, straight? Because that would change it. But I think that, look, it's up. If you have trust in your partner, then I think that there's nothing wrong with it. You could be friends with your ex, and that's perfectly normal and reasonable.
Can I just add on to that? Sorry, but
Sure.
If you are uncomfortable with it and you want to draw a boundary with it and they don't respect that, then that's also a problem.
Yeah, I think that's a great point.
Communication is also key, right? Like if you bring that up and you're like, "Hey, by the way, like I'm not a jealous person. I'm totally comfortable with you having guy friends, all that kind of stuff. It just makes me a little uncomfortable, perhaps, with this. How do you feel about that?" And it could also lead to a conversation that makes everything 10 times better, or teach you about her, and maybe you're just like, "Oh, okay, this is bad for me. I got to get out of this relationship." Who knows?
Yeah, I mean, it's always great, best practice, to talk with your significant other if you have an issue, rather than just like sitting on those feelings and letting it fester.
Yeah.
Because it's hard for me to say because I'm not familiar with her or the dynamics of the relationship, but I would highly encourage you to just have a conversation with her and express your reservations and thoughts. And yeah, I think that's really
Or
the
all
only way to
go
go.
clubbing together to get to know what exactly is going on.
There we go.
Who doesn't enjoy a little dance at the club?
Or you go to a separate club with your ex. You have a better time.
Yeah.
The ultimate revenge. Yeah, and you have to have more fun and do more Molly and just get fucking more wrecked. All right, that's how you.
At the very least, appear to have more fun in the Instagram photos you post later.
Yes,
that's crucial.
Yes,
Yeah.
That is super crucial.
And I take it just based on like your name being Fart Twain, you probably would be more fun than the ex because I doubt they have a screen name that's that cool. So I would say you have nothing to worry about, but talk it over with her.
The only way to beat toxic behavior is to do twice as bad toxic behavior. Science has shown us this.
That's exactly true.
Yeah, threaten self-harm, I think, is what we're all advising.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. If you go to the club, I will. Jacqueline says MAGA USA fascists and Zionists have curbed somewhat other Western countries, titillated by sadism and fascism. England, France, Canada, Germany. Finally. Tropical Ding Dong says Graham Plantner was on the Majority Report and knew all about the hosts and the leftist media space. He probably watching you right now. Should say hi. No shit, that's cool, because as soon as I saw his ad, I'm like, oh, this dude is gonna blow up. So if he is watching, then Graham, hit us up so that way we can bring you on the show. Zero PE says, did y'all cover the violence that erupted at Bell's Town Hall? We can never forget that AIPAC got Bush out, so this clown could take her seat. Yeah, I alluded to that earlier. I saw this on TikTok where he was getting reamed by his constituents. So I didn't see the violence though. Maybe I'll check this out. I just saw the clips of him being challenged and screamed at for supporting a genocide. Yeah, I'll check it out. I didn't hear about that. That's crazy. If you support violence, sometimes it comes back to bite you in the ass, so you should never support violence. Depending. Asterisks. 180K Chan says, wish I had time to protest with my fellow people, but work 5 to 6 days, 10 to 12 hours a week, so we'll give you 5 to spread the word. That's totally understandable. I mean, that's why, things get really bad, because the population is too tired to protest their, the bullshit and express their grievances. That's why bread and circus is so important for failing empires, right? So yeah, I appreciate you saying that, because you're not the only one. JCast says Newsom's #1 in the 28 poll. Newsom equals Fetterman 2.0. Shakes my fucking head. I mean, I wouldn't read too much into these polls, because this is super, super early, and it's temporary. He's getting a boost because he's fighting Republicans, but if you look at the head-to-head matchup between him and J.D. Vance, he's neck and neck, and not in the, Vance is 2 points ahead of him. So there's a lot of other arguments you can make when push comes to shove about electability, because he's just an establishment politician. I think that people just like seeing him fight right now. I wouldn't get too worried about it yet. We're going to get some shitty Democrat be shoved down our throats for sure. Whether it's him, I'm not sure, but I wouldn't worry too much yet.
I'd also like to read out a Blue Sky post by Cheryl Weichel that says, if you think Gavin Newsom is fighting fascism because his comms people post, but the encampment protesters last year were out of line, the Black Lives Matter protesters went too far, the anti-ICE protesters were wrong because they flew Mexican flags, then you don't know what fighting fascism looks like.
It's writing strongly worded letters, I'm fairly certain.
Yes.
Right.
And donation drives.
Hakeem Jeffries wrote a strongly worded letter about the DC takeover. So these fascists, they thought they could take over the country and turn us into an authoritarian hellscape. Just wait until they see that strongly worded letter. You better buckle up, buddy, because that letter.
I get it. I think what Newsom's doing right now is really good, lib porn, because it's a horrifying time, especially for Americans. And you've got a guy who's basically got a comms team that is dark woke posting right now, and they're just loving that. But for the most part, I see all that stuff, and I'm like, it's so cringe. It's just
I know.
Look at my AI art of Kid Rock hugging me. Look at my AI art of the. I'm just like, this sucks. I mean, but I get it. When shit is really bad, you're just looking for anyone who's willing to piss in the opposite direction, but then you all just get covered in it. It just kind of sucks.
I'm so glad you said that, because I felt like
piss gang.
I feel like when I see that, I also cringed, but at the same time, I understand why people like it, because it's just somebody doing something. But yeah, I don't it needs to be done, right? Because it's bothering Trump and Republicans. They hate it. But at the same time, it is so fucking stupid. But I'm glad he's doing it, but it doesn't make me feel good. It's just, okay, anything to fuck Republicans, because fuck Republicans and Trump. But yeah, I don't know. The fact that people genuinely enjoy it and don't just look at it as a necessary evil does bother me a little bit. Not too much, but a little bit. So yeah, I'm of the same mind for sure.
I also felt the same way just about various that whole hashtag dark woke stuff. For a while, I was just I saw people who were not LGBTQ just calling other people F slurs, and I was like,
yeah,
what like is the joke here gay bad and here's a slur and it's hilarious, you know, like Lindsey Graham is an F slur, things like that. I was like, and then hashtag dark woke. I'm like, so you're just as shitty as them, and
Yeah. You're not dark woke. You're just a bigot. Like,
yeah, you're
what
just
the fuck?
this is just bigotry.
Yeah, I've seen that too. I've seen more liberal people say not necessarily slurs, but just like, "Hey, that's gay," as in like gay bad. And I'm like, "Oh shit!" Like that's a middle school and coming back. Like I
Yeah.
say that's gay. I have permission to. I'm a homosexual. I can say whatever the fuck I want. But if you're
Yeah.
straight, it's kind of like, oh, it feels a little bit weird when you say it. Like even
Or
like if you're an ally, maybe, but like I don't know, it feels weird
then
kind
that's
of.
weird.
Well,
But, like,
it's not funny. Like it's funny when a gay person says it because you wouldn't
It's
expect a
ironic.
gay person to say that.
Right, exactly. Yeah,
No.
that's my
and,
thing.
and everyone using the R slur now, I'm just like that doesn't-
Everyone.
Yeah, I was like that doesn't make you as powerful as you think. You're not like, haha, well, you know what? No, I get to use the naughty word or something. And I was like, you just all look like scum now, right? Like, cool, you dehumanize people who are already having a bad time. That good for you. You know, it's just it's
Yeah.
not even funny because it's not like comedy. Like there's nothing clever about this. It's like a slur.
No. And the
Yeah.
reason why the right loves it so much is because they're so like stupid and uncreative. So like the only way they can like attach venom to something is to use a slur. But like if you're a liberal or a leftist, like you have a bigger vocabulary than them inherently. Like you can cook up some really fucked up insults where
And
you're
you
not
can be
like
cruel as fuck. Like I have seen people
Right.
who have reduced people to their fucking like you just took that person's soul from their body. You did Shang Tsung stuff, right? Like you like
Yeah.
it takes a little bit of time and you might have to think about it some more, but you can definitely be real like cruel without having to like drop the N word and be like, oh, dark woke,
Right.
it's okay. I dark woked it, you know, like and shit like that. Like fuck off.
It's not get out of jail free card.
No.
It's used tactically. Like if I
Yeah.
want to call Stephen Miller the F slur, that's dark woke. That's fine. But if you're a straight person and you call Stephen Miller the F slur, your gay friends are gonna maybe side eye you a little bit. Like I think it depends on the relationship, right? Like if
Yes.
my mom says
Yes.
the F slur, I'm like, Mom, what the fuck? But I'm like, okay, you know, it's my mom, and I know she doesn't necessarily mean it, and there's that relationship there. She would like fight for me, but it's just it gets into weird territory where it's like, I don't know, man. Like, are you really just attacking the Republicans, or are you kind of like throwing other people under the bus too? The net's a little bit too big. Like, narrow it down, okay? Like it's we can do better. I think. I don't know.
At the same time, though, if you're describing someone you do like and you call them F slur coded, I think that is a powerful statement.
Mhm.
You know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it just it depends. Like context matters, but yeah. We're all just kind of going crazy because of the Trump era. We're all dark woke now. You say a slur, just don't worry, I'm dark woke. Mark, thanks for being a YouTube member. Fart Twain says, I know Mike is a former H3 fan, so I had to ask, did you see them all posing in the Keemstar merch this week and saying they love him? I have not seen that, but that's what, was it Lance or Thought Slime? One of you said that earlier. Yeah, I've not seen that. I've not kept up with the H3 stuff. I fell off that a long time ago. I stopped like paying attention to it because I have no interest in it. I haven't muted H3 or Ethan Klein yet, but I just don't care at all. I've written it off. Same with TYT.
I can't speak out loud right now because I don't want what I would say if I did to land on the two of you.
I appreciate that.
Good looking out. Zero PE says, yeah, the constituents that were there got brutalized, Mike. It was pretty bad. Oh, the constituents got brutalized. Wow. Okay, I'll have to look into this. Thank you for the update, Zero. That's not surprising, honestly. There were so many constituents at Republican town halls earlier this year that were like, they were manhandled. There was one lady, actually, there was this viral video. I can't remember which town hall it was, but they like, the guards said, move. It was these dudes in like regular clothing. And they picked her up and like carried her out. And I think one or two of them got fired actually for that. because they very clearly assaulted this woman in front of everyone. Chris says Hakeem Jeffries is 100% APAC Squidward. True. Bayphoto says libs starting their strongly worded letters like, "Dearest Honorable Donald J. Trump, President of the United States. Sir, you are in the esteemed office of the presidency, and I am offended." Tiger says, taking bets. Y'all think Trump will openly try to have his cult target an elected official via social media? I predicted January 6th and ICE. Maybe I'll go 3 for 3. I mean, he does that to judges, right? He was targeting judges last year during his felony shit, and they were getting death threats and stuff like that. So it's already done. So you already are 3 for 3, Tiger. And last but not least, thank you for being a member, Beach Bra, for 17 months. That's
I got
all
one
that I
more.
have.
Chris Corcoran is saying guest suggestions. Jeremy Engage from the Head in the Office podcast. I'm not familiar with that. I don't know if you two are,
Same.
but I will add it to my checkout. The
Okay.
Head in the Office.
Yeah, I've not.
You know who else you should get? Chris Pratt.
Oh yeah, we never
Chris.
told. So who are your favorite Chris's? We never got to do that.
Oh, right.
Chris T.
Christy.
Oh, sorry. I think it's pronounced Christ.
Oh.
Have you guys heard the good word?
you have to pick one of the 4. You don't get to pick Jesus. We'd all have to pick Jesus. Christ is king.
My favorite Chris would be my nephew. Great kid. Love him.
They're
And I
both
don't know
cowards.
the other Chris's.
I'll play the game. Chris Evans. All right, I'll pick Chris Evans.
After he signed that bomb.
Oh, fuck off!
Oh, right.
Wow.
I was gonna say Chris Pine because that's the
I
only
didn't
one
even
I
know
could think
about that.
of.
Chris Evans signed a bomb.
Yeah, he was like doing a USO tour or something and signed a missile.
Has
He is
Chris
Captain
Pine
America.
signed anything?
Not that I know.
Chris Pine,
Yeah.
Israel.
It's weird that he's the only one. Chris Pine, Israel. He's the only one that came to mind.
Chris Pine is with Gal Gadot, the first ones to sign the open letter supporting Israel. There's no good Chris.
What?
There's not one. There's not
What's
a
Chris
single
Hemsworth do?
Chris.
Is that the young or
Hemsworth.
the old one?
He's Thor.
Thor. Okay. I don't remember the little one. He's not little, but like I remember what he was in. I always mix them up.
Me. Does Chris Hemsworth support Israel? He's not publicly spoken on it. He has no actions. You know what? That's probably the best we're going to get. Neutrality might be the best one. So
I'll tell you who definitely didn't support Israel. Chris Christopherson.
Somebody said Chris Rock in the chat.
Chris Smalls. You know what? Fine. Obviously, if there's any Chris, I think Chris Smalls would win out.
Oh,
of
that's
all the
fair.
Chris's. We were talking about the 4 Chris actors.
Christopher Walken.
Yeah, there's Christopher Walken too.
Oh yeah, that's fair. I would say Chris Rock, but unfortunately he was palling around with Dave Chappelle, who's a transphobe. So fuck him. I'm glad Will Smith slapped him.
Yeah, and he hasn't said shit about his brother being a big MAGA guy, Kid Rock.
They are real. I see the they're related. They look,
if you look closely, you
similar.
can see it. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. Chris Tucker, there's something about him that I remember I did not like. What is it?
Oh no.
Chat, help me.
Yeah. Well, some of those Rush Hour movies have aged better than others.
Hey, he's excellent in The Fifth Element, lest I remember.
I can't remember why I don't like Chris Tucker. Is it because he's a pedophile or a Republican?
He's not a pedophile. He did do a music video with Michael Jackson, which, that's not really indicative of anything. I mean, back in the day, I would have done any music video with Michael Jackson.
He had an Epstein connection. That's why.
He went to Epstein Island. Oh, okay. Well, that's easy.
Yeah. There's no good Chris's, is there? Wow. Just walk in.
David's JCass says David's favorite Chris is Cuomo. There you have it. I'll give it to Chris Smalls. All right, and of the four, I guess Chris Hemsworth is the best.
Yeah,
he's the most untainted and the hottest. So there you go.
The biggest.
Yeah.
You got to make a Chris tier list. It'd just be all Fs.
Christ on top because Christ is king.
Of course, we love Christ. There's a couple more super chats that came in. One from Narrator who says, "How do you feel about that's gay sarcasm, especially from straight people, e.g. having fun with friends, healthy relations, washing your ass, flossing, etc., all being gay?" It totally depends on the context, right? If a straight friend is like, that's gay to me, but they're saying it ironically and lovingly, then it's fine. If you're like, back in the middle school days where you're like, this movie was fucking gay, then it's like, hang on. Okay, I get to say that, but you don't get to say that. Maybe go fuck a guy or a girl.
Unless the movie is
then you
Brokeback Mountain, in which case you just, yeah, it kind of was, but that's
if it's
that's
literally
not really
gay.
Yeah.
If it's gay cinema, then that's okay.
You're watching Midnight Cowboy, like, yeah, that one's kind of gay for sure.
I did do this thing for a while when someone would give me good news. I would immediately be like, that's so gay. And then after a while, I started loving it.
Yeah, it just depends, right? I'm not going to tone police. I'm not going to, be the hall monitor and be like, you didn't use gay correctly or whatever. I'm not, at the end of the day, I'm not like, I don't give a shit. It just depends. Like, for me, if my MAGA sibling was like, that's gay, I'd be like, hey, fuck you. But if my non-MAGA sibling was like, that's gay, I'm like, yeah, it is. It just depends on the person and the context, right? I don't get it. Takes
just be like, that is so hetero, and then we'll start reinforcing that in life. It's good.
After being on Twitter for so long, I feel like, and just on the internet for so long, publicly, the bar for what offends me is so goddamn high. It takes so much to offend me. So yeah, I don't know. I'm not the best person to ask, probably. Narrator says, never trust a Chris. If Chris can cross applesauce, who the fuck won't he cross? That's a good question. But although, counterpoint, Chris Corcoran says, I promise to be a good Chris. Well, Chris, the weight of the world is on your shoulders.
If you're looking for a Chris on a cross, I know just the guy.
Yeah. He does have ripped abs. He can rise from the dead.
Jewish Palestinian,
hung out with prostitutes, woke as shit, trans. Yeah.
Parentheses, substantiated.
Well, that's all I have for super chats. I don't know if you all have anything else or anything else you wanted to add.
Do you want to raid Dark Native?
Let's do that. Let me pull up Twitch. I probably have like 5 people watching on Twitch. Let me see.
No, don't raid them. That's gay.
It will be. It'll be a huge raid and be super gay.
I'm raiding them with my 18 Twitch viewers.
Nice. Thank you so much, Thought Slime. I missed you.
Yeah,
Mildred.
this was
Great to see
fun.
You're very funny.
Good time.
Yeah. It's good to talk.
I need to go watch your Israel video now. I'm excited. I missed it.
It's really good.
Nice.
Super upbeat. You'll feel great afterwards.
Well, that's exactly what I need.
All right.
All right.
Bye, y'all.
Take care, friends.
Love you guys. See you soon. Adios, muchachos.